following is a presentation of the iRacing eSports Network.
Time for talking stops. Time for racing starts. Finals day on the iRacing eSports Network. The World Cup is here and it's ovals action to start off proceedings. Semi-finals time here, and it's going to be at Michigan International Speedway. It's UK&I versus DEATCH qualifying underway as things stand. It's Jake Sperry, it's Connery Maddock here for the duration of all 6 races that we have here in the World Cup. And Connery, you have to say that this sort of racing is going to be so interesting. It's best of 3 series. It's 20 laps worth of racing, 1 mandatory pit stop. And right now, UK&I want to get to another final to challenge the winner of Canada versus Finland. And you have to feel that DEATCH are having this same old story played out again and again, that they have run into UK&I in the semi-finals and it doesn't quite seem to happen. Can they turn the tide here today at Michigan?
That is the ultimate question here today. Both these teams, the UK Ireland and DEATCH, multiple times getting themselves into the grand finals here on the iRacing World Cup, but only one of them this time from this set will get themselves to challenge either Canada or Finland. Of course, Finland's the favourites in that second semi-final. This one's going to be the more competitive of the two.
Oh, you bet it is. Dave Walsh currently the fastest in qualifying by a 1,000th of a second right now. Ian Cornish second, Jake Forster in third. It's Daniel Newman, the first of the DEATCH drivers, in 4th position as things stand. Still got themselves, though, a minute or so to put lap times in. Mike Steinke trying to get a time in 39.121, his quickest so far at the moment, and he will try and get himself to the line all the way down under the apron to try and make things happen. 38.778. He bumps down Newman and goes into 4th position. Rene Awara is yet to set a time and will only get 1 lap in. That will work. Some drivers haven't set times, and actually they've struggled, like Christian Schallner, for example, down on just a 39.026. He will have to make headway up through the field, but eyes on Awara, who was so vital in the quarter-final against New York. This could be a big lap time, Connery, needed to get himself up, probably infiltrating past Forster at least.
Yeah, exactly. Miles held through, high through 3 and 4, drive himself towards that start-finish line. We'll have to see what sort of time that Awara manages to set himself. It's a 39.2, not good enough, only good enough for second to last on the grid.
Well, he didn't have a second lap to help him out because in 10 seconds time will expire. Neil Archibald will get across the line though in the number 43, can find a quicker lap time, 38.974, moves himself up then just a couple of positions. Time expires though, and this is how they're going to roll out for race 1. It is Club UK and Ireland 1, 2, 3. Dave Walsh and Ian Cornish on the front. Jake Forster shall start this one from 3rd. Mike Steinke is rolling off from 4th. Row 3 will see Daniel Newman and Stuart Pomfrey working together. Patrick Kopp then shall start from 7th with Fraser Williamson 8th. It's Christian Starko 9th. And it's Marcus Roma rounding out 10.
Looking further back then to P number 11, Andreas Straub there starting P number 11 with Jonathan Rex, the oval team captain for the UK&I club. starts himself towards the back of the mid-pack. Neil Archibald, P number 13, with Christian Challoner all the way down in P number 14. Not the qualifying that the NASCAR P Antifreeze Series driver would have wanted. He's going to be a big one to watch, moving his way through the field. We've got Rowan Mathis, and we've got Rene Owara finishing up your 16-car grid.
And this is going to be a very, very telling race. We have seen just how clean these events have been over the course of the quarterfinals. I think I've seen only one big incident that has happened, which has caused a lot of trouble. That was race 3, DEATCH versus New York. So DEATCH had to go to 3 races to try and get through in the quarterfinals. Does that mean that the more racing that they've had, do you think that puts them at a disadvantage, Connery, the fact that they've had to struggle and put more effort to getting to this semi-final stage?
It definitely does have some sort of psychological effect. You do start doubting yourself whether you'd actually be deserving to be here or not, but I think they can definitely go chasing after this race. Okay, you've kind of, in a way, lost qualifying here with the front 3 lockout that the UK&I Islands have, but the thing is, UK&I aren't invincible, and if DEATCH rile them up, then that could be their way in.
By no means are they invincible, but this is not a case of first past the post is the winner. It's a case of work for your team, because it's not just about those drivers at the front, that top 3. It's about those lower positions, how you can build up some reputation lower down, get some big points in. And sometimes you will see, okay, maybe the top 2, top 3 take big points. If you're 4th all the way down, you're still going to be taking a large chunk of those points. And I think, Connery, that's something that maybe UK&I have to be careful about.
Yeah, they do have to be pretty careful. We have a car that's still down on towards their lane. That's number 43 of Neil Archibald for the UK&I club. So I think his plan is to try and get himself towards the back of the pack and start from there. Although his car doesn't seem to be moving off the lane, so it could be early troubles already for the UK&I squad.
Yeah, that's one starting then from pit road. That's not going to be any help on pit lane, so that will mean that Archibald, thankfully only in 13th position, drops all the way back to 16th, promotes Owara, Mathis and Challoner up through the field. But 20 laps is not a lot of time here at Michigan to make things happen. The tyres do have a tendency to just fall off towards the end, and there is no need to change tyres or add fuel to these vehicles. All you need to do is stop in the box and get yourself out and away. They are behind, of course, the iRacing pace car, and that shall be heading down onto pit road this time by the pace being dictated by the 7, Dave Walsh, who was so good in the Ignite series earlier on this year. He gets the jump. Let's get going. It's green. It's go here at Michigan. There was a little bit of a slow one there from Patrick Kopp from 7th position. He dropped back a little bit, but no harm, no foul from the front 3. It's, of course, Newman now in 4th position. He's got himself past Mike Steinke. So now the chase firmly on here through 1 and 2, and now towards 3 they go.
Clean start for the UK&I trio up front, but Daniel Neumann and Steinke can really get themselves in the mix in these early stages if they make some inruns, because there's a challenge for the race lead. Ian Cornish heading his way down the inside of Dave Walsh. Newman now looking to gain a position. Some crucial points for DEATCH on that inside. Ian Cornish in already. Early stop, lap number 1. They do have to do one scheduled stop here in this one, and they don't even have to take service while doing it. Ian's taking the gamble early as Daniel Neumann challenges for B number 2 to get DEATCH back up there in points.
4 UK&I drivers in on lap 1. One club DEATCH, which was Rene Owara. Challoner came in on lap number 1, as well as Fraser Williamson and co. Newman looking at this battle now on the outside of Forster, trying to make something happen on the high side. Big carving move low from Dave Walsh, and I think he's deciding that pit road is the place to be. It is. He comes down in, joined by Forster, so DEATCH deciding to play the long game. Early decision, early game calls coming in. Trow comes in, Rex comes in, Starco comes in as well, as things look to get ongoing. Challoner has made some very good progress here in terms of the pit stop, because he's just behind Fraser Williamson by a little margin. Everybody okay on the box. Stop and get going again. Lighting up the rears there was Jake Forster, who is already looking to challenge here. Walsh coming off the pit road won't mean anything at the moment, but right now, as things stand here, Connery, it's DEATCH 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think 2 have decided it's time for the lane.
Yep, exactly. The vast majority of the UK&I trucks have found the lane in the first 2 laps of this event. So that is the strategy card that they're going to play. They get their scheduled stop out of the way early, get themselves in clear air where they can, more importantly, run together as well. And if they do have the advantage on pace, like we think Christian Challoner has after qualifying poorly, getting himself back and in some clear air to run those fast laps mean he's going to benefit big from this sort of strategy.
Oh, you bet that's the case. Mike Steinke comes off of pit road. This is going to be a crucial stop to see if he can get up to speed and challenge. He was right up there on lap 1, but look who's already charging around. It's those leading 3. Can you get up to speed, Steinke? No, you can't. Desperate to try and get going up onto the apron and back in at least 4th position behind Cornish, Forster and Walsh. You have the top 3 on lock again, as now the case for Patrick Kopp as he will fall just behind Christian Starkov there with Challoner just managed to get in front. Here comes Williamson now trying to make a move on Mike Steinke, and can he make that happen? He's on the low side trying to get to turn number 1, and for the moment at least it seems that they will keep that battle pretty much on heat as they go, but I think Steinke losing out on that outside line and just not rub it in just yet, but still trying to get something back. That middle groove so crucial, Connery, to this Michigan track.
Steinke will get the run off the corner on the high side of Fraser Williamson then, so they'll take the battle down towards turn number 3, but up high once again, Steinke has to go. Can he make this middle groove work? He's struggling for grip out there. He starts to lose ground to Williamson when it comes towards the middle of the corner, has to slot in back behind, gets himself back in that draft, but look at who's behind. It's the one, the only Christian Challoner right now, looking to get himself into the mix, as again they will fight down into 1, and Challoner, that's going to be easy pickings in terms of a position on the inside, or at least you would have thought so, but he can't find the momentum there.
Marcus Roma off of pit road and will come out just in front of this 3, so Williamson's made the position, but now Marcus Roma may think about playing blocker here in this scenario, because Williamson charging Steinke, Challoner, there's Starkov there as well, as now Rene Awara makes positions. He gets past Pomfrey and past Kopp in one fell swoop, so that there for Rene Awara is progress, who started all the way from the very back, still waiting on Newman, who has come down onto the lane and comes back out then on lap 7, so pit stops being done early by everyone in before the first half, and look at Newman try and come out, try and cover off the door. He can't, as 1 will go through, 2 will go through, 3 will fly by, and now all of a sudden DEATCH are climbing a mountain here in race number 1.
Yep, exactly. This is going to be a long way back into this first match for DEATCH. The UK&I have got the top 3 locked out. DEATCH have got P number 4 and 5 though, which can give them a decent chunk of points, but looking overall, UK&I very much ahead in this first race. But looking at the battle for P number 5 then, Fraser Williamson looking to solidify UK&I's position right now. Goes high on entry, low on the exit, trying to find the speed off the corner. He'll take the fight with Roma, down in towards 3.
Yes, certainly will. And Roma right now, we've seen DEATCH have been typically on the high side so far. Steinke there just waiting, holding off Christian Challoner, who has found himself stuck. But look at that high side, struggling from Steinke as he washes up the circuit, allows Challoner, to go down to that inside, and now it's pretty much tandem racing. It reminds you of Talladega or Daytona restrictor plate racing, how you've got teammates helping each other, pushing each other on the different lines, trying to make it work. It's not going to be as close as this as, say, a Talladega or Co, but look at this. That high side started to come into play almost off the wall, and there is Marcus Roma taking the position, and now Williamson will allow Challoner the chance to go through.
As that low line is starting to get run on, it becomes a little bit slower. There are no cautions in this race to allow the track to cool down either, so we will maybe start to see that middle and high line start to come in by the time the end of the race is near. But Challoner looking to make up the positions once again. He already got it done over his teammate of Williamson, looking to get it done over Roma, now down in towards one. Can't find the line on that high side though. The Challenger fan, he's basically doing that all he needs to do right now. Started P number 14, up into P number 6, and top 5 looking likely on the cards as well.
The only pro WC licensed driver in this field, and he will look low side trying to make it happen. Look a little bit behind as well, because Patrick Kopp's trying to get past Stuart Pomfrey. That could be vital for positions later on, but you can see Challenger still trying to make something happen as he is low side still, taking a good lap then to try and make it happen. Lap 11, over half distance, score complete, and now the countdown towards the finish to the inside, and makes it very comfortable there. The Challenger, that's a big high line from Roma, desperate to pick something up off of the exit, and ultimately does not find much at all to help with. Newman in 4th position, starting to drop back from Forster and Cornish just in front, 0.8 of a second the gap there, and now Pomfrey's got a train. Kopp, Traub, Mathis, it's a swarm behind Pomfrey right now, which could be all the difference.
Could well be. DEATCH need all the points that they can get right now, and if they get past what we call in the UK&I community Pommers, Stuart Pomfrey, then that would be a good thing for the DEATCH side. Patrick Kopp looking towards the inside line then, and has a ton of momentum on that line. Stuart actually just kind of letting him by, at least initially, but he'll start to come back on the exit of the corner. So an up and under attempt for Stuart here as he heads his way down in towards turn number 3. He'll have that more favoured inside line at this stage, where we've seen some of these DEATCH tracks especially make that high line work, but simply not going to right now for Patrick Kopp. He overcooked the corner, and Pommers manages to get himself back through.
But crucially, they are starting to swarm back into Starkov and Awara, which is going to be a telling battle. This is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, all out on circuit. So yes, they are in the lower positions right now, but they certainly have that ability to put in some big bulk points down at the bottom. The thing for UK and Ireland at the moment, their top 5 drivers all occupy the top 7 positions of this race. The issue for DEATCH is that their top 5 drivers can only inhabit right now the top 9. So that's the big issue at the moment. But crucially, it's Archibald and Rex who are down at the bottom. Jonathan Rex 9 laps down and out of the event, will not be scoring any more points. It's those 2 at the bottom which is giving hope right now to this DEATCH side in race 1.
It is very much so. So they won't be hemorrhaging as much points as they perhaps otherwise would have with those 2 UK&I drivers right at the bottom of the field. I'm still watching this battle involving the number 36 of Stuart Pomfrey, because he is pretty much in a huge DEATCH sandwich right now, trying to fight these cars all around the circuit, and he's holding pretty steady right now, even looking for the pass over Christian Starko, carrying through 3 and 4. He might just have it, but not clear enough to jump up towards that high line. Starko will fight back on driver's right-hand side across the start-finish line. We've got 6 laps to go here at Michigan Fort, the first match of the first semi-final, and Pomfrey looking to hold this position, looking to solidify his position ahead of Starko, but Starko coming back on the exit, looking for a space to move into, but the spaces are going to be closed.
Yes, and it was telling actually at the end of the last lap how Patrick Kopp just washed out and actually had to try and catch the vehicle off of 4, which was always going to be the tough challenge. This track is getting difficult now for drivers to hold their vehicles, and they've got to be steady in these late stages of this event. Your top 3 are split by just 0.4 of a second. They have broken Daniel Newman, and now Challenger is actually closing that down, that gap, 1.1 seconds, 5 laps to go. Steinke desperately trying to stay with Fraser Williamson in 6th. Right now, it is Club UK and Ireland, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and that is a big, big win for them if things stay like this, because DEATCH knows there's much to do. But let's not forget race 2 here, Connery, because if things don't pan out in race 1, it's a full reverse grid for race 2.
Actually inverting the top 14, so the final 2 cars actually not being involved in that reverse grid, and those final 2 cars actually UK&I club members, so that is not what they want to see. If this was a full reverse grid, it would be absolutely fantastic for them to get a front row lockout in race number 2, but the thing is, since there was a late rules change, top 14 are inverted.
Cornish down to the inside then for the race lead, and with 4 laps to go, 3 at the line, it will be Ian Cornish now who takes a lap, and Walsh decides, okay, let's have a friendly little battle here at the front. Let's try and keep working to bring Newman away from us, but the more they battle, Newman's going to start bringing himself back in. 1.3 seconds now. Gap between Newman and Challoner, 7/10 of a second. 3 to go at the stripe, as now things start looking a little bit more desperate now for that DEATCH side, who really just have been outclassed here in race number 1. The strategy call was very, very bold. They had to be reactive to that decision, and as such, they have been on the back foot throughout race number 1. It's 2 to go now, Connery. It's popsicle sticks. Cornish with the advantage, as Newman still trying to fend off Challoner behind.
That's going to be a huge job for Newman to try and secure that P number 4 out there on circuit, but I think right now he has enough of a buffer over the number 78 to make that P number 4 a thing when it comes towards that checkered flag, as the rest of the battles through the field have kind of spread themselves out right now. So it seems to be a comfortable 1-2-3 for the UK and Ireland club. They have no challengers behind, or immediate challengers behind, that they can be worried about. White flag going to be in the air as they come out of 4.
Well, don't count your chickens just yet, because anything is possible in the realm of racing. Forster's just behind Dave Walsh, trying to make something happen. Ian Cornish leading this field through turn numbers 1 and 2. You can see all the way up to the high side, trying to make something happen. Pomfrey got the gap over Starkov, Traub and Kopp. There's not going to be much argument then in terms of this one. Towards 3 and 4 they go. Little bit of traffic in Neil Archibald. That will not be caught by the time they finish this one, but it has been paint by numbers by the top 3. Early strategy call, but it's going to be Ian Cornish who's going to get a lot of grit and determination from this one, who will take the checker here in race number 1. It's UK and Ireland who stamp their name down and say, that's 1-0. Come and chase us down. It will be Walsh in second, Forster third, and Newman, the first DEATCH vehicle, in fourth. Connery, that is what you call a very, very well-oiled team working together from the same script.
Very, very comfortable at the front for the UK and Ireland club, but the thing is, it all hinges now on this race number 2 with the top 14 reverse grid. DEATCH are going to be in a fantastic position at the start of this second race, and I wonder if they can do what Finland did to us. I say us because I was actually part of the UK&I Oval team for the past couple of years, and they can just sort of just create a huge just firewall of just, you know, that UK&I are going to be struggling to get past. That could be the option that they go for here, because they can't match them on race pace.
Results then up on screen very, very briefly. Dave Walsh picked up the victory. Ian Cornish, picked up the victory. I was on the wrong bit, with Dave Walsh second and Jake Forster in third position. Daniel Newman finishes fourth with Christian Challoner fifth. Fraser Williams finishes sixth with Mike Steinke in seventh. Marcus Roma eighth with Rene Awara ninth. Stuart Pomfrey rounded out the top 10. And then from there, Starkov, Traub, Kopp, Mathis, Archibald and Rex, your top 16. Gridding process though, it'll be Roman Mathis on the pole with Kopp in second, Traub third, Starkov in fourth with Pomfrey, the first UK&I vehicle, in fifth position. It's Rene Awara in sixth with Marcus Roma in seventh, Steinke eighth, Williamson ninth, Challoner rounds out the top 10, Newman 11th, Forster 12th, Walsh 13th, Cornish in 14th, and it's Archibald and Rex once again. In terms of the points for that first race, it was 119 to 74 UK Ireland. They take officially race number 1, but Connery, race 2, it's right now, I'm looking at it, it's 6 DEATCH in the top 7. That's tough to break down.
Yeah, it will be very, very tough indeed, and you have to wonder if the UK&I club will actually go for that early pit stop strategy again, because they don't want to have to deal with that huge block of DEATCH cars up front. They'd rather get that stop out of the way early and then do it on the pit stops, excuse me. So that could be the sort of option that they decide to go for here, but this is really crucial now for DEATCH to keep their World Cup dreams alive, at least on this oval side.
just looking at things, Roman Mathis has not taken to the starting grid. More issues for Club DEATCH because Mathis is a full nowhere to be found. So pace will be behind Patrick Kopp, so it would be 7 in the top 8 would take that start, but ultimately not going to be the case. DEATCH all of a sudden are down 1 man, and that was not part of their script at all. So now pace car through 3 and 4, pace going to be dictated by Andreas Traub and Patrick Kopp. So this is going to have to be a little bit more of a difficult start because they have Pomfrey, who isn't going to be too useful to them in the short term. Pace car angles down onto pit road. So now let's see how this start goes. Andreas Traub checking up the field, massively waiting for the green. And gets the show on the road. Let's get going. It's a huge checkup. There's a little bit of contact in the rear between the UK&I team drivers, and that's not going to be helpful at all as now they start making their way through already. Pomfrey got a great one. Mathis was starting this one from pit road. That was not his real strategy that he wanted, but look low side then. Marcus Roma already trying to make some moves and has made some pretty great progress here in terms of the opening fixture. Look at this, fanning all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, looking to go almost 3 wide through turn number 3 and 4. It's still the 2 leading DEATCH cars with Stuart Pomfrey in 3rd place for the UK and Ireland club, but UK&I have made a lot of space on this inside. A couple of them will dive down on towards the lane early, like we saw in race number 1. Williamson in Challoner, but we also got Awara, Steinke, we got in Cornish in on the lane as well, getting those early stops out of the way. But Pomfrey is looking so aggressive for being number 2, and he's got a swarm of DEATCH cars around him. They'll actually make it 3 wide with him on the bottom, down in towards turn number 3. Pomfrey will squeeze the 6 as all that Newman has to back out. He's going to lose all momentum, but somehow manages to recover. DEATCH, both these teams actually racing very aggressive in race number 2 as Pomfrey heads his way in. Same with Dave Walsh as long as he gets the car slowed down. Jake Forster also in, Neil Archibald and Jonathan Reck. So that is the call that UK&I have made. Pretty much all of them on the lane.
All of them have come down by lap number 2, and that's a very, very telling fact indeed. Roma, Traub, Newman, Starkov, Kopp, top 5 with Mathis coming off of pit road as we speak. What I thought was a bad decision by Newman in that situation. He'd already lost a lot of speed heading through 3 and 4. You're taking the hit and trying to get back up to pace again. Why didn't he come down on the pit road and commit to a strategy call there, Connery?
Yeah, that could be, it could definitely be a mistake there, but the UK&I club had made so much room on that inside. Pretty much all of them are running the bottom, so it's much easier for the UK and Ireland to come down early there because they're already in a comfortable position where they can get themselves slowed down for the lane.
Ian Cornish is on the lane, and I believe it is for a 2nd time, so he's had a misdemeanor. That's not going to be helpful at all in terms of his long run. As things stand, Walsh, Challoner and Williamson are the big winners when it comes to the stops at the moment. Starkov just came down on the lane that last time by. Where will he feed out? Answer is Williamson is going to be flying by here through 1 and now into 2. Challoner will go by, Walsh will go by. Awara is desperately trying to stay and keep Forster behind. Does so at the moment all the way to the wall, but right now I think it's a case of diminishing returns for Starkov, who's done very well actually to keep himself on the back of this train and will now try and harass Jake Forster moving forward.
Will attempt to, but he's already fallen behind by a good couple of tenths of a second as Forster tries to look for the position over Awara here across the start-finish line. They will go. Forster 138.9, same for Awara as well, so not that much to separate these 2 drivers in towards turn number 1. Forster looking for maybe a good run on the exit here if he can find it, as Awara just has to be very careful about pushing wide on the exit of turn number 2. That outside wall really does come up on you rather quickly, and once your trajectory is into that wall, it's very, very hard to try to recover.
Well, we've seen one vehicle come down on the lane out of the main DEATCH train. That was Marcus Roma. We'll see if he comes out of pit road. He does right about now, and up to speed he will go too. does he have the run on the likes of Williamson and Challoner, who are trying to work together? He's got a pretty good go at it at the moment, but now they just start to encroach through 4, and he will lose 1, he will lose 2, he will try and fall into line, but he will lose 3, but crucially will give Awara a bit of help here to move himself back towards the main train, and that's going to be crucial for DEATCH. They've got to work together instead of being a group of individuals, as onto the lane comes Andreas Traub.
Yeah, Traub, the only visitor on the lane right now, as it is currently DEATCH 1, 2, and 3 as Challoner and Williamson will swap for position there between the two teammates. Perhaps Williamson realizing that Challoner is the fastest driver here, so he can go and chase this race for UK&I. There we go. The two leading DEATCH cars are on the lane, Daniel Neumann and Patrick Kopp. Where will they come out in relation to the leading UK&I cars?
Well, we saw how from the race lead there was a few issues for Andreas Traub. He dropped a lot of positions. Newman's lighting up the rears, trying to get himself off and away quickly. Patrick Kopp stops and is a lot slower on that box, more deliberate as he gets himself out and away. Newman up to pace already as he tries to run the oval. Kopp has been absolutely bamboozled in this situation, but look at Challoner. You're absolutely right, Connery, because there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and it's deja vu because UK&I have a 3-car train at the front again.
Oh, yeah, exactly what has happened in race number 1, and in fact, Marcus Roma will get himself past Neumann here for P number 4, so that early strategy for the UK really worked in terms of avoiding that huge DEATCH blockade right at the front of the field. I've seen exactly what you've seen there as Jake Forster tries to squeeze himself a gap on Rene Awara.
He does, but he's just not able to make that work yet, but will pick it up through the exit of 2, trying to make it happen. Lap 9 out of 20, and into the wall on the outside goes Rene Awara, and that was pretty much, sorry, Marcus Roma, I believe that was. It was Roma who hits the wall, and we've been worrying about that turn 2 wall, Connery, and just like that, Roma is the first to take a bite out of a safer barrier.
This might still go to a race 3, believe it or not, because looking at the timings, looking at the standings right now, the bottom 4 cars are all UK and Ireland. So DEATCH, even though they've got 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, might just bring this to a race 3, but don't count me on it. We're still waiting for the points calculations to come through.
Watch Jonathan Rex in the 97. He's just behind Mike Steinke, who will now be the guardian of the gates to the DEATCH train. So he will now have to try and hold off for the last 10 laps every little bit of position. Watch for Jake Forster as well, because Forster is going to be trying to get positions on Awara and Neumann, and that's going to be really helping that UK&I push. If they can get it to 1, 2, 3, and 4, I'm not sure there's much you can do as Club DEATCH to try and stop UK&I. Change the position then as Traub goes low to try and get past Starkov, and will get past Starkov pretty quickly. But now watch Rex, he's right there.
Yeah, exactly. Rex trying to get more points for the UK and Ireland club in this second race, and they could be very, very crucial. Although we're just getting it through right now that the UK and Ireland are slightly leading even without this pass from Jonathan Rex. 102 points to 91. That difference is going to be a little bit larger now that Jonathan Rex has got himself past Mike Steinke, but Steinke's going to really come back here, coming down the pit straight. Might just have a chance coming down in towards turn number 1. Doesn't decide to dive it in, so that's going to be a chance of begging there for Steinke as Rex makes huge inroads on those 3 DEATCH trucks in front.
Yep, Starkov now is the next for Rex to gobble up like a Tyrannosaurus Rex at this stage. In through 3, then lap 12. It's going to be 8 to go at the line as Rex goes low side, making it happen. It's a washout there for Starkov, who is struggling here over the second half of this event. And now all of a sudden Rex gets another one for UK and Ireland, and it's powerless at the moment, it seems, for DEATCH to try and stop it. Starkov's still there on the outside though, still has a chance of making this work, but again, that high side certainly not favouring him as things stand. But keep an eye out for Marcus Roma. Roma's not fallen off the back here of Forster. Forster may still be under pressure.
may just be. Let's see what Roma is able to do. Was a slightly slower on that last lap, Landrick Forster, but he can still make up the position potentially here as Forster gets a little bit loose, a little bit sketchy off the exit of turn number 4 as we head on to that number 14 now. Not too long ago before this race is over. Still time for Roma to get this pass done and gain some much needed points for the Edge.
It is 8/10 of a second between Walsh and Newman, and that's the big telling factor. Newman on his own trying to chase down the core because Awara is 6/10 of his own back of where he needs to be to chase down Daniel Newman. And if anything, Newman is trying to hang on in there and make a dent into that top 3 blockade at the front of that pack. No changes then of position as things stand. The only thing we've seen, Starkov has fallen behind Steinke then as things stand for the moment. But look at that gap down 7/10 of a second now between Walsh, Williamson and Newman. And I think Williamson doesn't have the pace, and Walsh is just playing rear gunner at this stage here, Connery.
Yeah, definitely. The lap times went just over 1/10 of a second away of Neumann that last time, so he's catching this leading UK and Ireland trio right now, but whether he'll be able to do anything by the time the race is done, well, that is still a big question. If he is able to, though, he gives DEATCH a chance in race 3.
Yeah, and they are starting to close Challoner in as well, who is half a second down the road. So now with 5 laps to go, could there be anything that makes a big change? Steinke's all over the back of Jonathan Rex, who's going low side to defend things at the moment because Steinke and Starkov are trying to bring this one back into play. At the moment, it seems that they are going to try and make this one work. To the inside goes Mike Steinke. This is a crucial position then, and there are implications in play. But look at that high side run. Jonathan Rex has that set up beautifully as he goes through, and now look at Starkov trying to close down in as well. It's now a high side that's working into play, Connery.
As things stand, we will not be going to race 3. UK and Ireland still leading on the points here in race 2, and if that is the case at the checkered flag as well, then they'll be winning 2-0. We won't be going to the 3rd race, and then we'll be looking to that 2nd semi-final on the oval side between Finland and Canada. That one is going to be a fairly interesting one as well, but we've still got a couple of laps of this one to get out of the way right now. Still that leading UK&I trio. Neumann still trying to do something, but he's lost time on that last lap, so I don't think he'll be able to challenge by the time this race is done.
Well, he's 6/10 back and he needs 2 a lap, so it seems at the moment Newman's got nothing unless there's a mistake from any of your top 3. As things stand, Forster has built himself a nice little 4/10 cushion over Marcus Roma. For Jonathan Rex, he's building his own cushion against Mike Steinke, so right now things looking very much nice and dandy for UK and Ireland unless something is to happen late. Look at the gap again, though, between Newman and Dave Walsh. Walsh that last time by 40.2. It was also a 40.2 for Neumann, who took fractions off the time. Not enough to help. Popsicle sticks. Connery, 13's gone in the wall.
Oh, Patrick Kopp, DEATCH. That is the last thing they needed, even if they had a slither of a hope. Having one driver out of this event right now. We'll see what happens on the replay. It's a slow, it's a lazy instant to turn number 3 and 4, and Kopp not able to hold it.
No, not at all, and that is the death knell in the coffin. White flag at Michigan for Christian Challoner, who has been in this position so many times before in his iRacing career, with just how dominant he can be, as his iRating and his World Championship banner will certainly show. Williamson 2nd, Walsh 3rd. Newman still trying to get there in 4th position, still not enough to try and get onto the backstretch then for the final time, and through 3 and 4, it seems like it has been a bold decision, a bold call, and one that has been working out nicely again and again. Challoner will come to the line, spearheading the train, as that will be 2-0 for UK and Ireland. They move to the final first and say this is the team that you will have to defeat. It's a blowout, and it's a big, big win in the long haul, Connor.
UK and Ireland doing exactly what they needed to do. They had the overall pace, they had the depth of the squad as well, and it has brought them into yet another grand final over DEATCH, at least for this oval side of things. But we'll go over our official race results right about now.
Christian Challoner, a big, big victory, a 1.2 second win over Fraser Williamson. Dave Walsh coming home in third. Once again, Club UK and Ireland 1, 2, and 3. Daniel Newman finishes fourth with Jake Forster in fifth. Rene Owara in the end losing out in sixth position with Marcus Roma coming home in seventh. Jonathan Rex finishes eighth with Andreas Traub ninth, and Mike Steinke rounding out the top 10. Christian Starkov would finish 11th, Neil Archibald 12th, Roman Mathis started for this one from pit road, only gets to 13th. Ian Cornish had to pit a second time, 14th position for him. Pomfrey was a lap down. Patrick Kopp 2 laps down in the end after his incident with 2 to go. That's 16, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is 2-0. We're going to step aside very, very briefly here because post-race coverage as we gear up to the second semi-final here of the afternoon.
As we prepare to crown the 2018 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion, and we're so happy that you're along for the ride with us this evening for the 18th and final race this season. We welcome you into the Race Spot TV booth. Myself, Evan Pasoko, Randy Cheneth with you for the call tonight. Our director, Hugo Louise, is downstairs. Race Spot TV and the iRacing eSports Network. One race to crown a champion. Let's go racing from Homestead. Green flag in the air to turn number 1. Nick Ottinger, your pole sitter, brings us up to the gears for time. We are going to go 3 wide for the lead at Homestead, just 9 laps in. Lewis wants to make the inside work, and Schoenberg way overdrove corner 3. He'll throw this one away. Brad Davies with a big run.
Fortunately loose, Mr. Taylor Hurst. Michael Guest just coming up the racetrack. They both go for the same bit of real estate at the same time. The 05 and Nick Ottinger, bit of an set up the dream situation. Michael picks up the 4th spot, and that puts championship contenders running 1, 2, 3, 4 as they come to start lap 107.
The battle for the top 4 is the battle for this 2018 championship.
Able to fight Ray here as they go down the front straightaway, but if you're the 5 versus the 34, they get the wall that goes side by side to the 1.
It was the slightest bit of contact, but it breathes new life to Ray Alfala. Look how hard they drive it into the corner as Alfala pushes Luza up the hill.
Back straightaway. Do either of them off the pit road? Yes, he does. Ray Alfala makes the call a few laps after Busa.
And he went right side by side with Luza into the corner. And look at how Fowler digs sideways as he tries to get all the time he can, all kinds of out of shape as Ray Alfala drives it hard to pit road.
There is $10,000 on the line, 2 laps to go, and $10,000, 2/10 of a second separating it.
1 lap to determine the championship as Ryan Luza still needs a car length and a half, just 1 into the final time. The 6 drives it in hard. He looks for the bumper of Alfala, but he is not going to get there in time. The 6 can't stay in the S, and Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
was justification, as it's a 2-0 sweep for Club UK and Ireland. They get past DEATCH in track number 2, 114 to 79. It books their place in the finals of the Oval, and they will play either the winner of Canada versus Finland here on the iRacing eSports Network. A presentation brought to you by RaceSpot TV, people that we do have to thank for these sorts of broadcasts, the likes of Antwerp Designs, the official graphics partners here at RaceSpot TV, ATVO and Apgeneer, the official graphics engine, the likes of Nick Disson's live timing and scoring, Istvan Ballo's track cams 22, and of course Simon Grossman for the animations. But Connery, you're stood by with the man in second position here at this second race. It is Fraser Williamson who has done that job. Connery, all yours.
Yeah, hello there, Fraser, and we saw UK and Ireland go through to the grand finals then on the oval side of this, the iRacing World Cup. How was it out there for you today?
Yeah, it was not bad. We had a set strategy, we executed that strategy with issues, and we got the result that we were looking for in the end.
How much did that strategy help you in race number 2 especially, just with the vast majority of your drivers coming down in on laps 1 and 2? Did that make you avoid the DEATCH wall up front pretty easily?
I'm not sure because we've never done an opposite strategy, but I would assume it has, but overtaking around this track, Michigan, it's been quite difficult all week in testing, so we went, we'll just get out clean air, let's see what we can do. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the finals.
Yeah, and those finals will be very much all important, and we've got the second semi-final coming up. That's going to be Finland and Canada, and I think everyone you'll ask will say that Finland is the favourite there, but with that in mind, how are you guys looking for the grand final?
Let's just see. We'll try and make no mistakes. It's Finland or Canada. Either way, it's going to be a tough race. It's the finals of anything. It's difficult. So we'll just see. We'll go into it and we'll just give it our best. That's all we can do, and it's what we try every year.
Of course, you have the other side, the other discipline as well in the Roads Championship that we have here in the World Cup as well. And how's the UK squad looking for that one?
For the first year and forever, I've not been involved in the roads, so but I watched them last week, and the Lot 79 Grand Snatch suiting them more than I was expected. Obviously, the Italians did whatever on earth they did off the start last week, but yeah, let's just see what they can do. I don't know who they've got in the semis, but let's just hope they can get through. We can have both in the final, and let's just hope it's our year.
Yeah, we do have to remind everyone you have the 2 separate championships here, the Oval and the Road, 2 entirely different brackets, but the overall champion will be the team that has scored the most points over this playoff period. But thank you very much for joining us, Fraser and Jake. We have yet more exciting racing from both disciplines on this evening.
Yes, we certainly do, as well as this next semi-final coming up. Everyone seemingly is writing off Canada in these early stages. I think it's going to be a tough challenge. Remember what New York did over against DEATCH? They took them to 3. I don't see a reason why this couldn't do the same. Canada, always a difficult competitor to try and break away and try and get victories against. But as we know, this is the World Cup, and anything does happen when it comes to the World Cup of iRacing. We're going to step aside then for about 10 minutes or so here on the iRacing eSports Network, because the second semi-final is going to be on its way. It is Finland versus Canada. The winner plays UK and Ireland in the final. Semi-final number 2. The number 1 seeds Finland against the rank outsiders Canada in what will be the race to race against Club UK and Ireland in the final of the oval portion of the World Cup of iRacing here on the iRacing eSports Network. Subscribe already if you haven't. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers as things stands. It's Jake Sperry and Connery Maddock in the commentary booth for this one. Qualifying has just started here, Connery, and if practice was anything to go by, Finland, despite being how ice cool they are in personalities, are red hot.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. We had pretty much, I think it was 7 of the 8 Finnish drivers actually occupying the first sort of 8 positions in practice. We have qualifying underway right now. We have the first couple of lap times going up onto the board, and they're going to be all Canada. So Matthew Bell, currently provisional pole with Brandon Hawkin and CR Reed. But there we go. Here come the Finns. Lindqvist, Iloma, Salvalainen, instantly 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Alexi Iloma, Joni Heikkinen, all there. Savalainen putting in some good work. Here's Joni Hagner trying to put his first time on the board in the number 42. Normally part of Glacier Racing. Over the line, Hagner goes, and Hagner will put in a 39.3 of his own, which is a pretty good job. Brandon Hawkin puts in a 38.8, Bell a 38.7. Those second lap times are starting to come in to play. The likes of Iloma, Savalainen making their second charges over the line. 38.717. Savalainen has himself on top at the moment. Heikkinen puts in a 38.6. And the man last year, who was the Finnish national champion, has put himself right into prime position, pole position, as things stand when they get right down to it. Drivers like Mark McFadden, or Fadian, has his opportunity to set 2 lap times at the moment. But at the moment, it seems here, Connery, it is Finland right where they thought they would be.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic qualifying so far from them. P1, 2, 3, 4. The first Canadian is Matthew Bell in P number 5. And, well, that one will change quickly. Fernando Cardoso gets himself up into P number 5, but has instantly dropped down to 6th. Karima as he gets himself P number 3.
Una Karima doing a very good job. Timu Ilvanen. Been a long time since we've seen Ilvanen racing. He gets himself then up onto that first position, exactly what they want. McFadden then gets himself a 39.1 to open out proceedings. That's not bad at all. This second lap could be very, very telling. We've seen how around that 39-second barrier is a good opening lap. It's about half a second in it when you get back up to speed. So this could be on course to really put the cat amongst the pigeons here for Club Canada. And if they're going to have any chance of getting a result out of this, they have to break the block of 7 up at the top as things stand. Final corner for McFadden, trying to make something happen. The time is going to be 38.934. That's not what he was hoping to find. And just like that, this becomes difficult for Club Canada. Ernie Ludwig is the last driver who will be able to set a time, who will be able to finish it heading to 3 and 4 as things stand at the moment. Ludwig in that 26, 39.146. Currently his time at the moment. Can he find anything more? Answer will be 39.001. Better in time, not in performance. This, though, is how the field is going to stack up to start race number 1. Teemu Ilvonen then on the front row, Joni Heikkinen alongside in second, Jukka Savalainen from third was Juna Karimaa in fourth place. Sebastian Lindqvist will start from fifth, Alexia Loma sixth. It's 7 lockout. Jere Sepala starting this one seventh with Fernando Cardoso, the first Canadian, in eighth, Matthew Bell ninth, and Joni Hagner, the last of the Finns, rounding out 10th.
Then further down, you've got P number 11. It's going to be a string of Canadians. Carl Scharf. We've got Brandon Hawkin, Mark McFadden, Ernie Ludwig, C.R. Reid, and Claude Belvoir. Rounding out your 16-car field, and a long way back for Canada in this first race already.
A very long way back, but they'll be hoping for something to happen in race number 2 when they'll have the majority of their vehicles up at the front. But it is Finland who have themselves the big advantage then in this opening race. But we have seen sometimes how having that big advantage can be a detriment. If you hark back to the road side of things, Connery, the implosion of Italy off of the start, this could be one of those same scenarios if there is too much overconfidence in this Finland side.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Finland, I don't think are going to fall foul to the sort of mistake that Italy made with that race start that we saw on the roadside. I think they're going to be taking it cool, calm, and collected. There's no reason why they should be aggressive on this race start, especially with each other. You know, if qualifying is anything to go by, they'll have the race pace advantage as well. Canada will have to do something special in terms of maybe finding another gear or just doing something in the strategy that'll catch the Finns out. But it's looking unlikely, but I've been wrong before.
Well, people have been wrong before, and even the best of predictors can't always get it right. And some may also say that a broken clock is right twice a day too. But right now, you can't really look too much past this Finland side, the way that they have been stacked up, but they will start their 1 pace lap before 20 laps of Heat 1, shall we say, is about to get underway, as Canada will have a whole slew of red and white trying to chase down the whites just in front of the Finnish drivers. And Connery, you have to feel that it's just got to be about consolidation and just keeping cool. Don't fight amongst yourselves. This is a race of teamwork, and this is a series of teams.
Yeah, exactly. And Finland already 5-time champions, looking for their 6th World Cup here. So they know what this is all about. They know that it's a team game rather than individual performances. So they have a huge advantage here in this first race at least. But we'll see how things go as they head themselves down the middle of the back straight. Then you can just see that wall of white cars at the front with the blue highlights, and of course those 5 stars above the windshield denoting the 5 championships that Finland have won here in the iRacing World Cup. But will they be able to add another star by the time the day is complete? Well, that is still completely undecided.
It looks like a Finnish snowstorm at the front of the field. It's like being in Lapland, seeing how much they are at the front, but pace now being dictated by Teemu Ilvonen as the pace car has already made its way onto the lane. A long checkup, but it's a very, very good start. Coordinated as it's green and it's go here at Michigan. 20 laps to go. Looking low side already. It's Fernando Cardoso trying to make an inroad into the blockade of Finnish drivers, as now there is not much you can do but hope for something to happen as things have lined up. The stern has looked low. There is Joni Hagner making it 3 at the bottom.
Yeah, at the start, even before we got this race started, the advantage 150 points to Finland's counted 43, but that can very much all change because we've got Cardoso making up positions on the inside. We've got Matthew Bell as well looking to get his way through as Cardoso looking towards the pit lane. The rest of the Finnish drivers ahead of him also struggling to get their car slowed down. I have to wonder if we're going to see some speeding penalties here like we saw in the last race with Ian Gornish having to come down on towards the lane a second time, but pit party at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, Sebastian Lindqvist was on the grass trying to slow it down. I think he's going to have to take a penalty, which is not going to be helpful. In and out they go. Look for Sebastian Lindqvist, who misses his box as well, and now has to play the waiting game. He missed it twice of all things too. That's just consolidation of what's happening. Speeding on pit entry, he will come down onto the lane. Out and away comes Teemu Ilvonen. The rest come in bar one. Alexia Loma is the Lone Ranger at the front of the field.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a I don't know if we can talk about the protest, but I'm going to talk about the protests anyway. Finland have protested Cardoso lane change before the start-finish line, so that is not something the Canadians would have wanted to hear about here. So they really need to chase all these positions down and to get a potential penalty before the race had even went green, or just as the race had gone green. Then that it would be very much a huge issue. But Cardoso, the one on track right now, trying to make the moves. The 47 looks towards the high line over the 1-2-3 of Sepala. You see those cars on the inside having to rejoin on the back straight. Won't have the momentum coming down this straight, but what can Cardoso do with the wall of Finnish drivers ahead of him? One's going to be slow coming up through the middle. Cardoso will look to the inside over the car of Salvalainen as he comes off the lane 3 wide, coming through turn number 4, make it 2 wide as Cardoso tries to find grip on that inside, and right now down onto the apron for the pit straight, trying to gain the position over the number 13, but is unsuccessful at this moment in time, but that might change by the exit of 2.
Well, it seems that Fernando Cardoso was trying to take something out of the Finnish faithful, the Mika Hakkinen move at Spa-Francorchamps, trying to go around the traffic. You can't do what the Finns do best, and now look as he pays for his mistakes, trying to force low Savalainen, who goes down to the inside, trying to pick off a position, and just like that, Cardoso will pinch him right down to the apron almost, and now getting back up and going again in the draft too, out on the high side, very wide up on the high side actually, just keeping an eye on Alexia Loma, who gets into the wall actually there in that scenario, through into one. Got to be careful about that, Alexi. It's always going to be very, very dangerous. Bell and Hawkin trying to stay on the back of Joona Karimaa, but out front it is Teemu Ilvonen doing exactly what Ilvonen does best, and that's lead as now back to the inside. Savalainen will go.
Savalainen in the 13, looking to make the pass back over the 47 of Cardoso, trying to hang his way around the outside, but not able to defend with the amount of grip that Savalainen had on that inside line. The 47 still makes it side by side by an inch or so as he heads his way across the line. Will take the battle to turns number 1 and 2, but I think this is fighting a losing battle here. Savalainen has to be careful not to make contact with his teammate coming through 1 and 2. That's a scary moment.
That was a very scary moment there as Jere Sepala almost found himself turned around by a rear quarter panel. That would not have been helpful at all. No further action then for Cardoso in the instant at the start. He did not make any overtakes, as right now it's Finland 142, Canada 51. Pretty much blowout as things stand, and that's not going to be helping anybody's cause in the long and the short of things right now. Ilvonen leads this one, Heikkinen second, Hagner from 10th all the way up to 3rd. Savalainen's gone high, and that's going to allow Cardoso straight through as they get very, very close together. but that was pretty easy then. Cardoso is the Lone Ranger trying to take it to everybody else. It seems there's nothing that Canada can do to really have a response.
Yeah, basically what Cardoso's objective is right now is basically damage limitation. Pass as many finish cars as you have and then look towards that race number 2 and set up the blockade right at the front of the field like DEATCH failed to do against the UK.
I'd say even more disruption. If you can disrupt the rhythm here of this Finnish side, you might see 1 or 2 find a wall, find themselves out of this one, but Cardoso can't afford to go wide like that out of 2, because that will only allow Savalainen the chance to come straight back. And there's Una Karima just in the back, trying to keep himself in play for this one. So Savalainen trying to get back at Cardoso. It just seems it's a back and forth at the moment between them, and that's not going to be helping anybody but the Finns at this stage.
Yep, exactly. Getting towards the halfway point in this race right now. Lap number 9 of 20. It's still the Finns in a fantastic position. 1 through 5, then 7, 8. And the last placed Finnish driver down in P number 15. That's Sebastian Lindqvist, because he had his issues on the pit road for the start of this race. So that is how it stands right now, as the famous Shakespeareism will go. But Cardoso, he's lost ground on the Finnish drivers ahead of him right now. He's being harassed from behind by the likes of Savalainen. We've got Karima there as well, all running lap times faster.
They are running lap times faster. But look at Lindqvist, actually, because he's only 4 seconds off of McFadden. And then there's CRE just in front of that as well. I reckon he could get to CRE by the end of this one. I think that's what Lindqvist is thinking about. Just take a few points away. If I'm stuck there in 15th position, that's not going to be helpful. Get to 14th, and I will have pole for the second race with the 14 inversion. But that, at the moment, will be the least of the worries for Canada at this stage. They understand that they simply do not have the pace at the moment. It seems that they have 8 drivers instead of this team unit that is being seen here by the Finnish. And there is a reason why that Finland have been so dominant when it comes to this. It does surprise you how Finland can be up high. But let's not forget Jarl Teyen did manage to qualify for a certain NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series at one stage, Connery.
Yeah, so Finland with, you know, they've done this all before. They've done it 5 times before, to be exact, in this World Cup. So they're no strangers to this sort of competition. And it's also a point of national pride as well for this Finnish side. They pretty much get everyone out there practicing, everyone out there trying to qualify for the qualifiers into this event, and it results in a very strong squad when it comes to the final.
Heikkinen in the wall out of 4, and this will allow Joni Hagner up into second position around the outside. Joni, go. Careful, buddy, because that could have ended in total disaster for not just one vehicle, potentially a second as well. I saw Joni Heikkinen a couple of times in practice split the walls, so Heikkinen is someone who does push that level, and these camping trucks are not the same as the rallycross cars that he'd seen in the Rallycross World Championship. He's got to be a little bit more careful with them.
Just a little bit, as he does have some rear end damage to that truck on the rear right, but his pace is still looking okay, and he has a decent buffer over the next Canadian driver, Fernando Cardoso, down in 6th place, who's getting a sort of wing mirror full here, rearview mirror full of Karima, as Karima will have the run off of turn number 2, looking for turn number 3, 0.2 of a second faster on that last lap was Karima. Oh, that is so close to running into the back of the Canadian in front of him, as Cardoso goes for a slide through 3 and 4, gives the advantage back to Karima as he'll look for the inside, coming through towards the pit straight down and towards turn number 1. No momentum at all for the number 47. That's yet more points to Finland.
But here's some coming back. Savalainen will lose out to Matthew Bell on the low side, getting points and places, so Bell gets himself a good position too. Karima up against Cardoso, which is crucial, but now all of a sudden Savalainen's got Brandon Hawkin in the mirrors as well. So it seems that there is a little bit of a spark left, just the cinders that are just burning a little bit here for Canada in heat number 1. But right now you have to feel, Connery, it is only consolatory at this stage in this one, if that is even a word, because it is still Finland 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you have to also argue here, maybe Finland just taking their foot off the gas with some of the drivers at the rear of the train, just so they get a better grid position for the second race.
Could well be. Sebastian Lundqvist up into P number 14, easy pass over McFade, and that means if he finishes where he is at the end here, he's going to be pole position in that race number 2, which could be crucial for Finland because Canada won't have the huge block of cars parked right at the front of the field.
Alexia Lomar behind Joni Heikkinen, who does have the damage, looking high side, trying to make something happen, thinks better of it. 5 to go at the stripe. They have already passed with Timo Ilvonen 1.2 at the front of this field. Loma at the moment just playing that patience game as he only needs to do. Now look at Savalainen here, because Brandon Hawkin on the high side trying to make something happen, and you know what? That's not going to be fought very hard at all by Jukka Savalainen. He loses out the position and thinks better of it. So it seems that this one is getting closer and closer here for Canada, but by only the smallest of increments, which is not going to be helping them in the long run at all. You have to remember as well, Connery, maximum points needs to be taken, and at the moment, losing these points isn't going to be the most helpful thing for Team Finland.
Not at all. We've got Finland 140, Canada 53, so they have a huge lead in this one. So dropping a few points here and there is not going to be a massive issue, at least in this race. But if we come to a grand final and Finland starts dropping points, then that could be a bigger issue. But right now, they are comfortable. They're just doing what is required of them in this first race.
Yes, and what is required is very, very telling, as Alexia Loma is just going to sit behind, then it seems, for the last 3 laps of this one, which has been pretty much plain and sailing as things go by. Matthew Bell, though, has run himself very, very slow. I think he's tagged the wall actually out of 4. The answer is he has more than just tagged it. He has clobbered it coming out of 4. A wiggle, bang, up into the safer barrier, but has done well to keep that one going, as now Savalainen could be getting one more position back here with popsicle sticks in the air.
Yeah, looking for the inside, but even though this is a short race, the tyres do start to age quite a bit towards the end of these 20 laps. So Savalainen, he still has the advantage to it within that he has a clean car, and Matthew Bell certainly does not. Looking up for turn number 1 then on lap number 19 of this event, simply not able to find position right now, but Timo Ilvonen, he's going to head his way through 3 and 4. It's going to be white flag this time for Finland, and not in the sense of surrender. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. Just take a bit of a political context at how Finland fights with its armies in certain wars. They know that surrender is not an option. They know at this stage that they have themselves a pretty Canada.
firm hold.
Bell in the wall. Oh no.
Matthew Bell, Claude Belval, and that pretty much is the epitome of what has happened there. That was Matthew Bell having that slide, bang, head first into the wall, bang, Belval gets a piece of it as well, and just like that, it's Canada looking a lot more worse for wear. Eyes on Timo Ilvonen, who makes his way through number 4, and this is a pretty dominant display from race number 1. Timo Ilvonen takes himself to victory lane. Agner second. Heikkinen holds out for 3rd position, but there's issues coming to the line, as that's Karima with an engine. That does not look good, and Karima, I think, went into the wall, joined with Jere Sapala coming the end. So Sapala in the wall. Karima joins him in his own separate incident, and there is positions being lost. All of a sudden, that nice and rosy margin did not look nice and rosy. That there for UK and Ireland, who are sitting and watching this one very interestingly, Connery, is going to be very, very useful for them. But let's get results up on screen. Teemu Ilvonen then picks up the victory. Joni Hagner in second. It's Joni Heikkinen in third with Alexia Loma fourth. Cardoso will move himself up into fifth with Brandon Hawkins sixth for Canada. Jari Sapala seventh and Una Karima in eighth. Jukka Savalainen gets ninth with Carl Schaaf rounding out the top 10. And it's C.R. Reid and Sebastian Lindqvist there 11th and 12th, 13th. Mark McFadden with Claude Belval, who will start from pole in 14th. Ernie Ludwig and Matthew Bell failed to finish this one, but Connery, this suddenly becomes an important point because it is a victory, crucially, for the Finnish team, which is something that they will be very, very happy about, just picking up that big victory. The thing they've got to worry about now is the fact that this second race, they've made mistakes there on that last lap. They can't afford for any of that to happen in second race, or if they're thinking a little bit further than that, which I think they already are, they've got to be very careful about that against UK and Ireland.
Yeah, they do have to be a little bit cautious, maybe a lapse of concentration, knowing they had this thing won already, just not paying much attention to how the car's behaving through 3 and 4. But it's still, I have to remind people, a very, very, very comfortable win for Finland in this first race, 135 to 58. And that is a bigger margin than what the UK won over DEATCH by, so I don't think they're going to be worrying.
I don't think they'll be worrying, but this second race could still go awry if they are not careful. So the setup probably is letting loose when it comes to those final laps, and that UK and Ireland will be something nice to look at. Canada will be hoping that they just stay in this sort of race. Claude Belval will have the pace of the field. There's Lindqvist there in third position, but look at the slew of vehicles that are just going to be sitting there and playing that waiting game, hoping that something is going to happen, Connery. But I think now it's a case of Canada's got to do the best they can and hope that even by a point, they can slither themselves an opportunity to go to a race 3.
Yeah, that has been the objective. You just win on points by any means, no matter how slim the margin is going to be. And right now, it's going to be looking like it is going to be a slim margin if Canada are able to get themselves through to at least race number 3. But the good thing is they have the front row lockout with the reverse grid here, so it's going to be Claude Belval taking the pole position with Mark McFadden in second place. But Sebastian Lindqvist, he's been so quick. He had issues early on in race 1 that dropped him to the back of the field, so if that pace is anything to go by, he can make short work of these two Canadians up front.
Eyes then look towards the pace car, and it's a much of a closer gap, so it will be less unpredictable when they get to that start and that finish stripe for the second race of 20 laps worth of distance. Pace car angles then to head to pit lane. Claude Belval, when do you go? He goes now, green flag. He waited incredibly late to make it happen, and you can see already how vehicles are starting to play that patience game. Don't change the lanes in the early goings. 3 wide in the middle of the pack as they make their way towards 1 and almost 4 as they go through. Canada starting to move, and now they've got to mobilize here. And look at this, still hold on. They are all there for the moment.
Oh, so close to being instant between the Canadians as this mid-pack is an absolute mess. There's still 3 right in the middle of it. Karima on the bottom line drifts up a little bit, almost into Carl Schaaf holding that outside. The Finns looking to make these inroads early. We have hitters already. That is what we expected.
And
Sweden are in, but there's a wreck further back. C.R. Reid is involved in this one with Jukka Savalainen.
Yes, and that's very telling because Savalainen was on that outside and no room on that outside to make it work, and bang into the wall. The pair of them go, and that could be telling 1 for 1 in terms of this one. 3 wide coming out of 2. There was Matthew Bell, Brandon Hawkins, all there with Joni Heikkinen, and there's more that's going on just in front because Lindqvist fighting it out with Claude Belval. Belval's forced up high, and there, taking the air array, Lindqvist decides, I've held you up enough, time to hit the lane.
Oh, contact through the corner. Belval has to be spat out towards the outside as yet more cars, more trucks to try to find their their way on the lane. Matthew Bell, very good pit entry, makes it side by side with Joni Hagner coming down on the lane. So yet again, it's a case of the early pit stops, but Coach Belval, Brandon Hawkin and Joni Heikkinen, they are the only 3 drivers to have yet found the lane.
Look at Bell and Hagner, too wide off the lane, and Hagner wins out in the end. And now making their way forward is going to be Fernando Cardoso, and following just behind Timo Ilvonen, desperately trying to chase down the gap, but at the moment Cardoso has got himself the gap that's wanted. Ilvonen should move up into second position and does so. So Matthew Bell instantly tries to go for the faster draft, which is slightly more streamlined, but it's just unable to make that happen. So net on the road, it's 1 and 4 at the moment for Canada as CRE comes out. Brandon Hawkin has decided he's made his stop. He's the last of the pitters. Then at the end of lap 3, starts of 4, he'll get back up to pace, but he should drop behind Connery.
Yeah, he should well do in this situation. Still waiting for Belval and Heikkinen. Heikkinen finally heads his way in as Cardoso has made up a position here up into P number 3 as Heikkinen drops himself on towards the lane. Brandon Hawking is looking for pit exit right now. We'll come out side by side briefly. Rivenan, he'll lose out to Joni Hagner as well coming down the back straight, losing out to his own teammate of Matthew Bell. There's a missed box right now for Joni Heikkinen. That could be very much crucial in terms of the points. He's going to have to reverse that back into the box and lose a couple of seconds as a result, as the battling still goes on out there on track. Alexei Aloma now fighting with Hawkin, but Aloma squeaked his way ahead.
As things stood just then, it was Finland 95, Canada 98, 3 points the margin. But now look at where Heikkinen comes out, thanks to the missed box. Behind Matthew Bell, behind Alexei Aloma moving down to the inside, behind Brandon Hawkin. This is not what the doctor ordered, as look at this, low contact, fell up into the wall, and following him will be Aloma, who saves it, going through as Canada again end up in a little bit of trouble as Alexei Aloma holds up. Bell decides the vehicle's wrecked, and that will be that for him. Well,
no,
that is interesting.
Bell once again finding the wall here in this one. I'm just gonna cycle myself back so I can get a better view of it. Contact with Alexei Aloma on that inside. The gap was just always closing, and Matthew Bell definitely the one that's come off worse than that one. That one will be investigated by the stewards. We've had some protests come in from the Finns already about some miscellaneous stuff, but there have been no penalties being given out. Now Finland will take the lead on points, 103-90.
And I have to say about Tapani Lililuoto, who has been putting in the penalties again and again and again, I don't think anybody likes a rule stickler, and that's what it's starting to turn into a little bit. They've got the pace, Connery, over Canada, but they are trying to use everything to get to their advantage as Belval loses out to Heikkinen and co.
Heikkinen did find the wall again on the exit of turn number 2, so not the best of runs for Heikkinen, as Aloma will look to make up the position over Hawkin here for P number 4 out there on circuit. Aloma on the inside, Hawkin on the outside. They'll take the battle to turns number 1 and 2. Can Hawkin make it work? High up there on the racing circuit. We'll take the wide entry, looking for the exit speed, but Karima right behind brings him right up to the rear bumper.
Yes, certainly does. Brandon Hawkin under so much pressure. Karima trying to make something happen. Look a little bit further up as well, because Cardoso goes from first to third. Ilvonen and Hagner make their ways through on the Canadian, and just like that, Finland assume dominance once more. Karima still trying to make something happen on the inside lane, blocked by Brandon Hawkin, who gets himself continued work as high. Oh, my goodness, Cardoso. Go careful with Joni Hagner, who took the gap away that he wanted to exploit.
Exactly, that is going to be more points hemorrhaged by Canada. They need to find something in these final 11 laps that will have the next time they come across the stripe. And the longer this race has gone, the more that Finland have managed to get themselves back up there and deal with all of these Canadians that started up front due to the reverse grid. Looking back though, Karima versus the car of Brandon Hawkin once again, side by side across the stripe they'll go. Karima has the support of Joni Heikkinen behind if he so needs. So Hawkin then outside line once again, attempted around turn number 1 and 2, gets the mid-corner speed. Does he get the exit speed without hitting the wall? It's a game of cat and mouse in terms of lifting off the throttle there, but Hawkin manages to squeeze his way ahead.
They've got Claude Belval waiting in the wings as well for anything to happen, and desperately they need Belval to get up there past Heikkinen, past Kadamar. I wonder if you just release Heikkinen and get himself going, because he definitely is the one who is quicker out of those two. Now keep an eye on this, because Heikkinen has made the position and Brandon Hawkin now becomes more under pressure. Here's Claude Belval though, going down to the inside, trying to hope that the outside still has a little bit of I don't work, and at the moment it just about is picked up off the exit. Heikkinen going low as well. Let's go Noah's Ark, and both times it seems that Canada is struggling.
It does seem to be the case, as Heikkinen will look for that inside despite the damage that he does have to that truck. Karima behind, looking for the middle perhaps. No, he's going to go to the outside instead. Try and make a Canadian, finish sandwich with Canadian filling there. But the thing is, there was no room to make it around the outside for Karima. This battle will continue down towards 1 and 2. Heikkinen on the inside again with, I have to reiterate, a damaged truck. He could be best served letting Karima by here instead to try to challenge, but he doesn't need his help. He's squeezed his way ahead already as the Canadians try to fight back, but fight back is failing at the moment.
Well, they had absolutely nothing. They lost all momentum. Hawkin on the outside struggled. Belval tried to look low, but there was nothing there. Hawkin still trying to stay with Juna Kadamar at the moment. Kadamar doing absolutely everything. Now look just behind that. There's Sebastian Lindqvist coming back into play here, who had not the best stop sequence, but has certainly found himself now trying to get past the main train. Going low now, trying to work here is the finish. And look at that. They get 1 and almost a second here, because Lindqvist trying to run up high won't have much help, and just like that another finished vehicle decides to get past Brandon Hawkin, and Hawkin now is being boxed
in on the run towards 3. Lindqvist very low, manages to gain the position over Hawkin, and Hawkin might even lose out over his teammate here, of course, Claude Belval. In fact, he will just on the exit of turn number 4. Fantastic amount of points gained once again by Finland. They are 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you've got 12 and 15 as well there. So points leader in this one right now, 123 to 70. They're looking for the clean 2-0 to put them in the grand final.
Make easy and light work. That's all that they hope for at this stage. And Fernando Cardoso is desperately trying to stay with Hagner and Ilvenud, who are just that cut above, that half a tenth a lap, which brings the gap now to 0.6 of a second. Aloma just a second back, just looming in the distance. Very much a big threat at this stage. Also, you've got Jere Sapala, who's closing down Ernie Ludwig and Carl Schaaf. Misery right now for Canada.
Definitely, it's not looking like their day. They're back to up against the wall, even after this fixture was able to pull off the upset, shall we say, right now. But 5 laps remaining. Things do change very quickly in motorsports, but the longer this goes on, the more and more unlikely that fact is. So P1, P2 to Finland right now, P4, 5, 6 as well. It's absolutely brilliant from the Finns right now, looking comfortable for grand final.
Looking very comfortable indeed for that grand final. And well, Carl Schaaf now on that outside, sees Jere Sapala just behind. I think Ludwig may just lose the position here as Sapala desperately tries to weasel for some room, and does weasel for that room. Block the line maybe, Carl, but now going incredibly low is Jere Sapala, heading through 3, maybe over-rotating the wheel, trying to make a line, just trying to ends up being nothing, it seems, through 3 and then through 4. Belval and Hawkin working together, but they seemingly have nothing at the moment. Heikkinen at the front of the second train that goes on. Oloma suddenly brought the gap down to 0.6 of a second, and Cardoso is visibly being caught. Oloma is the fastest man on track.
He is a 40.1 right now. His fastest lap of the race is a 38.8. Absolutely fantastic stuff, but it isn't over in terms of the battles here between the Canadians and the Finns. Karl Scharf still trying to defend from Jere Sepala here through turn 3 and 4. There will go. Sepala gets a little bit loose, but manages to catch the truck by the time the exit of the corner arrived. We'll have 3 laps to go for these guys as they head their way across the line, and Sepala going to back out of this one, waiting another day.
Another day looms and waits. 1:28.65. It's looking more and more elementary, my dear Watson. But for Ilvonen, it has been just a case of try and sweep both of the races, and has done well. Here comes Oloma, low-looking, big, hard block. Down to the inside goes Cardoso, as now high side looking goes Oloma, trying to hope something's happened. They've been protesting about Cardoso all day, getting in his mind at every single stage, but now Oloma has got to fight hard for it. Will get a much better run coming off the exit, big carving line low, and will now surely take third away.
Yeah, battle to turn 3. Cardoso had tried to squeeze him towards more of a low and compromised line coming through here, but Loma's managed to get himself ahead. The car did slide a little bit through the middle of the corner, same with Cardoso, but on the exit. So these tyres in these final few laps for both teams over the course of this race and last, starting to go away, so that is going to be notes being made by UK and Ireland, since their setup seemed infinitely more stable in this late race.
It certainly does, but for the Canadians, it seems that the Finnish axes have been absolutely demolishing the Canadian trees and letting maple syrup flow all over Michigan International Speedway. To 3 and 4 goes Timo Ilvonen and Joni Hagner. They will have CRE just in front, who will stay out of the way, heading towards the line, because Finland have swept the Canadians 2-0, and they will battle in a long grudge match, Club UK and Ireland, for the final in just 20 minutes time. And my goodness me, Connery, is that just simple racing from Finland? They made mincemeat out of the Canadians here this afternoon.
They really did. Absolute Finnish dominance, and there'll be chance of Suomi going on in the Finnish Discord, TeamSpeak, whatever they use in our YouTube chat as well. Absolutely brilliant stuff. They'll hit yet another grand final in the iRacing World Cup, looking to take their 6th title here in this one for the overall standings. But we've had a change of format, of course, for this year with the separate road and oval championship, so that one is also a big question as well.
Classified results then up on your screen. Timo Ilvonen goes 2-0 himself. He picks up the win by just a shade under 1/10 of a second ahead of Joni Hagner. Alexi Oloma makes it a Finland 1-2-3. Fernando Cardoso gets 4th, with Joni Heikkinen 5th, Juna Karamar 6th, and Sebastian Lindqvist in 7th position. Brandon Hawkin in 8th then for Canada, with Claude Belval 9th and Karl Scharf rounding out the top 10. Jere Sepala will get 11th, with Ernie Ludwig 12th, Mark McFadden, C.R. Reid, Jukka Savalainen 13 laps down, and Matthew Bell, we saw what happened to him earlier on in the event. The final will be coming up very, very shortly. We are under 20 minutes away from seeing action take place here at Michigan International Speedway. Oval final, it is Canada against UK and Ireland. Don't go away.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original eSport racing game. This is iRacing. He has done everything he could have done to try and get himself into the championship picture. But 2018 has not been his year. 2018 has not been Gregor Hutu's year. Despite it being the last chance for, oh my word, have we just seen Matt Backham overtake Martin Kroenke on the final lap of the motor race? We have! Matt Backham takes the victory, Hutu second, Gregor Hutu in second place. What have we just seen? Martin Kroenke in third, and the title will go down to Kota. My word! I do not know what I have just seen. Silverstone a couple of years ago was the craziest finish I've ever seen to a World Championship Series race until today. And I'm just having a look. He doesn't... what did Martin Kroenke even do there, James?
I think he was out. I honestly think he was out. I haven't seen anything like this before. He was struggling to get the power on. I don't think he was out. Maybe he was wanting to give Matt Backham the victory because he was quicker, because he still had the championship. Oh my goodness, Martin. I think we have just seen the defining moment of the season. I have no idea what Kroenke's done. We'll have to ask him for an interview. But Gregor saw an opportunity, sent one down to the inside on the final corner. And I think that Kroenke wanted to give the victory, potentially. Maybe not second. But this title's alive, Will. And De Jong has been given... Two juggernauts of iRacing come back together again on the ovals. Michigan is the battleground. The two teams are stacked, primed, ready for action here for the final of the oval portion of the World Cup of iRacing, brought to you on the iRacing eSports Network and by RaceBot TV. Jake Sperry, Connery Maddock. It is absolutely jam-packed at the top of practice as things stand, but Connery, you have to say there is a secret weapon now for UK and Ireland. It's Jamie Fluke, and as things stand, that could change the tide.
Yeah, Neil Archibald having issues in the first semi-final, drops out, and substitute Jamie Fluke gets himself into one of these trucks here today for the UK and Ireland team. And Jamie Fluke, of course, very, very spicily quick in the road machines, jumps into an oval car instead, and he's not too shabby in those cars either. So this could be a fantastic play by the UK and Ireland team. But right now, as things stand in practice, Finland P1, 2, 3, and 4 right now, but we can't read all of that much into the practice times right now, as that clock will tick down to 1 minute remaining, and we'll get ourselves into the qualifying session as we set the stage here for this oval grand final, the first grand final that we'll have here today. The road semi-finals and the road grand finals will be just after this one, where we will have to change streams. But this is going to be the early sign of who's going to take that overall World Cup. The oval one will be decided in just moments time, but the overall will have to wait until those road finals are completed as well. And this one, I think this is going to be the closest playoff game that we've had in this entire Oval World Cup Championship right now. And who else other than the UK and Ireland and Finland? Two World Cup rivals over the past couple of years will do battle here at Michigan. And I just absolutely cannot wait to get this one started. We'll tick over into the qualifying session right now, and we'll see how that grid stacks up for the first race. So qualifying going to be underway, and those cars will get themselves out there on track to complete their qualifying laps. And this qualifying can be potentially crucial in how this one turns out for race one. I was talking to Jake Sperry a little bit earlier on while we had that decent chunk of a break between the second semi-final and this grand final. We think it's going to go to 3 races, and let's just hope that happens. Either way it's going to go. Alexei Aloma is going to be the first one to get himself out there on the racing circuit. You have the likes of Jake Forster and Ian Cornish as well. As Jake, you are back. We're going to go for qualifying.
We certainly are. Alexei Aloma will be the pace setter. He's got the freshest track of the lot. Of course, you've got 16 drivers all pounding around Michigan. That's going to be heating up the track more and more, and getting out early is a bigger advantage at a track like this. Track conditions here today, 38 degrees out on the track. Winds from the northwest at 12 kilometers an hour. And for Alexei Aloma, lap number 1 is going to be a very, very important one indeed. On the back stretch, trying to maximize everything. Cornish behind, Walsh, Savalainen, and then looking behind for Jonathan Rex will be the opening laps that you will see. But with these 5 minutes, they will strategically place out certain drivers, get their top drivers waiting and ready. We've also seen how certain drivers in practice have not been at the top of the game. Aloma's first time is a 39.1. That's not bad at all, but Forster forces his way to the top.
Yeah, fantastic first lap times, although we did see in that in the previous qualifying sessions that second lap can actually be faster than the first. So these are the banker laps coming in right now for both teams. Dave Walsh getting himself provisionally pole position at this moment in time as Alexei Aloma, he'll head his way through 3 and 4. Challoner goes towards the top of the timing screens, but this is going to be for the first representative lap time that we'll see Alexei Aloma drive to the line. What can he do to set as a benchmark on the second lap? It's a 38.8. Gets himself to the top. What is Forster able to do? Not fast enough. But the thing is, Ian Cornish and Dave Walsh managing to get themselves to the top. Salvalainen, though, with a 38.7. Fantastic lap from the Finnish driver. But this qualifying definitely is not over, especially when Jamie Fluke matches Salvalainen.
He certainly does, and goes straight to the top. And crucially enough, Challoner couldn't make anything happen on lap number 2. Pumphrey has got himself a lap left to go. Jonathan Rex has a lap. Evenen, has yet to set a flying lap. He's on his first flying lap right now. Evenen, arguably the star of this oval team. If ever there was a time to say there was a big star, Pumphrey has come over the line, 39.4. He'll be one of the slower drivers out there, but crucially, get an eye on this. It is 1.35 for the moment for UK&I. It's 2, 4, 6 and 7, 8 for the Finns at the moment, with Evenen still to go as well. He will set lap number 1 then onto the board. What will he be able to do with this? The answer for Evenen is going to be 39.526. It's the slowest time of the lot right now, but he needs this big second lap time to be working for him. 1.5 minutes left here in qualification for Evenen. As things stand, Fraser Williamson will not go any quicker, nor will Pumphrey, who's moved up with a 38.974 above Rex, above Challoner at the moment. But Evenen is what we focus on right now, because I think 38.7 could just be out of reach at this stage. It looks like a 38.8 time, but where will that put him in the grand scheme of things? Evenen over to the line. He does a 38.819, bang, up into 4th position, jumps Joni Heikkinen, and that is the most crucial lap time I think we've seen. Grid as follows. The secret weapon is in full force. Jamie Fluke on the front with Jukka Savalainen alongside. Ian Cornish in third with Teemu Ivonen in fourth position. Joni Heikkinen will start fifth with Dave Walsh in sixth place. Alexia Loma seventh and Una Karamar in eighth. It's Sebastian Lindqvist in ninth and it's Jake Forster rounding out 10.
It definitely is. P number 11 on the grid will go to Jere Sepala. We've got the cars of Joni Hagner further behind as well. We've got Stuart Pomfrey further back, Jonathan Rex, Christian Challoner, and Fraser Williamson. The 4 UK and Ireland cars at the back of the grid that need to make inroads in this first race to have a chance at taking the first one.
And we've seen how Challoner's done it already. Fraser Williamson in the second race was very, very important in the first semi-final. We have seen how Jonathan Rex and Stuart Pomfrey have been able to make those moves. But crucially, Joni Hagner has been exactly the same character. So this is going to be a battle of attrition in this opening race. This is going to set the tone for the event. Remember, those in the back too, they won't be getting any help moving forward. They've got to be so cautious about how this happened, and it's an event like this which is team-based, and you need 8 strong drivers, not 6 strong drivers and 2 weak ones. The only criticism, Connery, of this UK and Ireland team.
Yep, exactly. It looks like Finland have more of the depth of the squad to go into. These drivers are all of them are absolutely fantastic, though you do have a couple of outliers on the UK Ireland squad that might not be quite up to the pace that these guys at the front will be running. But in just a couple of moments' time, we'll see these guys pull off of the pit lane and we can get this first grand final of the day started. Finland with the advantage in qualifying, but that can easily change.
It can change on the flip of the proverbial coin, and we have seen it so often when it comes to racing. Nothing is quite what it's seen. If you've seen just the pictures beforehand coming to life, you can talk about what happened Martin Kroenke at Spa-Francorchamps and what happened between him, Mac Backham, and of course the 5-time world champion Gregor Hutu. He himself finished. For these drivers though, they understand they are fighting for more than just victories. They are fighting for their respective clubs and hoping that it makes it happen. They now take through pit road for their one lap to get themselves going forward. And Connery, this becomes more crucial than ever for those right at the front, for those right at the back who need to make moves. And this pit stop game, we saw them both go early in their semi-finals. Now this final could be a chock-a-block pit road.
It could definitely be. I don't think any holds are going to be barred here in this grand final. UK and Ireland and Finland definitely do have a history, especially in these World Cups. They'll be fighting tooth and nail for every single position out there on circuit, and there's going to be no love lost between the two teams.
There is going to be no love lost at all, but what they know is that they have to give everything right now or nothing will matter at all. For Finland, they are looking for number 6. For UK and Ireland, they want to stop the rot. But for the moment at least, it seems an even playing field as things stands. The white wall of Finland, though, in the middle of the pack is something to keep an eye out on. It is bookended right now by Club UK and Ireland, and that's not what was wanted to be seen. Big gap being left now by Jamie Fluke as the pace car shall head its way onto pit road. The first heat of the final of the World Cup of iRacing Oval Series. Gets underway, and it's a great jump from Fluke, and look at that, late on the green. Has Cornish gone and jumped it because that was slow from Jukka Savalainen? They're trying to play games already, as now the Finnish contingency holds 3, 4, 5 and almost 6 now, as Walsh in the 7 gets put on the outside with nowhere to go as things stands. As through will also now try and look a certain Mr. Forster, who has been absolutely storming off this start. 3 wide. They are trying to think about this here in the background of UK&I, and all of a sudden now this becomes a battle of attrition.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely a timed restart there from the UK and Ireland club, and immediately they'll decide to head their way in. That's going to be the driver of Ian Cornish leading the cars down on the lane. Forster's going to make it 3 wide with the 2 Finnish cars coming down on towards the lane. We've got Challoner in, Williamson, we've got Sepala as well for Club Finland. But out there on track, still fierce fighting going on between Dave Walsh and Jukka Salvalainen. He'll make it 3 wide down the middle of these 2 Finnish drivers. Can the number 7 make it work?
Even in there on the inside, trying to hold on to everything as they start fanning out. Even and washes up the circuit. Go low goes Dave Walsh as he tries to think about pit road, and they all think about pit road apart from 3. Very, very aggressive. How aggressive were you, Dave Walsh? I think he may have sped on pit road, and that could have been disaster for UK and Ireland the way he's been racing.
I think he's okay. I think he's okay. 90 kilometers an hour speed limit. He was under that by the time he hit the yellow cones. So Dave Walsh leaving no time left out there on the pit lane entry. Gets himself stopped in his box. Immediately back out there, side by side with Evenen.
Yeah, Fluke missed his box, and that's crucial. No. He hadn't had the time to practice much. He was the secret weapon, remember? And that means that Lindqvist goes by, Evenen goes by, Walsh goes by. Now Fluke's got everyone going by, and now has the long road to recovery. And we were talking about how good he was. In comes the last of the Finnish contingency. Salvalainen, Karimaa and Hagner, all hitting the lane at exactly the same time. And now this becomes, can Ian Cornish and Jake Forster help make the push forward? Walsh comes out behind Alexia Loma, very, very crucial as he gets up to speed, but they are in the draft, and all of a sudden, out and away they go. Savalainen struggling to get the power down as round will go Joona Karimaa.
The trio of Finnish drivers making their way out, but they're going to be behind Ian Cornish, behind Forster. They have their teammate following their way by, behind David Walsh as well. We've got Challoner making his way by as well. So the later stop not really working out for the Finnish drivers right now, as it's 1, 2, 3 for UK&I with 5 and 7 supporting.
Stuart Pomfrey, though, comes onto pit road, so this will cycle everybody's pit stops, which is very, very telling. One driver a lap down is Jonathan Rex here, so Rex will be the driver in that final position. Pomfrey in, Pomfrey out and away again, but now Ian Cornish makes his way through. 1, 2, 4, UK and Ireland. Cornish, Forster and Walsh. In third is Alexia Loma, and look on the outside, there's Christian Challoner trying to get past Teemu Evenen. This one is the battle for 5th position out on the road, and Evenen is the last bastion of hope, it seems, at the moment, as it's Finland 105, UK&I 88, because Finland have a stranglehold of the middle of the pack.
Yeah, but we've got Jamie Fluke already making up positions, or at least trying to, over Sebastian Lindqvist, but Lindqvist is going to fight on that outside, and this race 1 might be decided on how far Jamie Fluke and Fraser Williamson can get themselves up through the field. They've got an absolute train of Finnish trucks ahead of them that they need to make their way by to take this first race for UK&I.
And Challoner could have a big impact. Higher points up at the higher end. Aloma's desperately trying to get to Jake Forster and try and get himself through. And Dr. Forster now needs to start thinking about how do you diagnose the Aloma problem that's just in behind. And now this is where things get a little bit interesting, because yes, Lindqvist then just a little bit off the pack. That's going to mean a lot of work here for Jamie Fluke to go forward. Lap 7 now here of 20.
Yeah, exactly. The points very, very tight, but thanks to Finland having the stranglehold on the mid-pack, they're keeping themselves in this. Jamie Fluke again driving aggressively through turns 1 and 2, not able to find the position over Sebastian Lindqvist as there's someone in the wall in a Finnish truck. That is Karimaa.
Karimaa in the wall, and that's going to bring everybody back in. He'll have to get back up to pace, and he will have damage because it was a hefty hit on that outside safer barrier. This will bring Fluke back into play. Lindqvist now just behind. It shortens up the train at the front there to 3, and now look at Iloma just in front now in 3rd position. Desperate to try and get past Forster, but again, finding that Michigan is a tough place to make overtakes, as Williamson said in his interview at the end of the semi-final, and now starting to think about, do you go through as Fluke makes his way through?
Yeah, Karima dropping back through the field, hemorrhaging points for Finland. Williamson's going to make his way by on driver's left-hand side as well. That 446 truck is not looking healthy at all. That's some points gained there by the UK and Ireland team. It is too close to call. UK&I 98, Finland 95.
And it's going to change again. Here's Aloma on the outside, and Ian Cornish has got to think about helping Forster out here down on the inside, hoping that something will work in favour. And Alexia Aloma still working that high line, which comes back into play in the second half of this event and gets it. Very low goes Forster, desperate to try and get behind and back into the draft. He does so, and now Aloma changes the complexity of things as Fluke now finds himself at the back of the Finland train.
Yeah, he does. This could all be decided, like I've already mentioned, on how far Jamie Fluke gets up through this Finnish train. So the advantage will swing back towards Finland thanks to that Alexia Aloma pass over Jake Forster. So this race is so close, and we're going to have at least two of them in this one. Jamie Fluke looking for the low line, looking for the grip over Sebastian Linkvist, but he's going to push high on exit. Careful with the wall, he's going to lose momentum, and that could well mean that the only chance he'll have now is by the end of the race to try and get past that Finnish trainer 4.
Yes, and that is actually a Finnish train of 5 technically, because Heikkinen has found the back of Christian Challoner and could make even more inroads for Finland in the early goings. But now Aloma starts thinking about Ian Cornish just in front, and Cornish right now maybe thinking, oh, I wish I had one less pasty there for lunch, because all of a sudden Aloma's there and hunting and stalking the prey, hoping for something to happen. Here comes Evening as well. Walsh is under pressure now for 4.
Yes, he definitely is. Evening, going to close up the 3, looking for the inside through 3. Not able to get it just yet, though, as these top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I count 7 cars out there on circuit, right at the front of the field. Absolutely nose to tail, but in this part of the track, UK and Ireland have the advantage. It's just in the rest of the field where Finland are winning.
Evenen still thinking about the inside and does commit to it as Walsh takes a high line. So now Evenen decides, can I take 4th position away, migrate up the track and get way through. That's beautiful from Teemu Evenen, who moves himself up into 4th. This will now promote maybe the chance for Challoner to follow in the footsteps and try and send one down to the inside. He will go down the inside, and I think Walsh is starting to fade here as he now loses the position, and hopefully he may not lose any more in terms of the UK&I effort, because now Heikkinen starts thinking, okay, you're pro, you've lost 2 positions this lap, time for a 3rd maybe is the thought. High side look, low side look, the side, low side is the way forward, and goes for it.
Yeah, there we go. That 101 truck of Heikkinen on the inside. Not enough grip down there low, though, to be able to try to make the pass. But the battle for the race lead is closing up. 1/10 of a second exactly going the way of Alexia Aloma. Can Finland pull the race win out the bag as well as the points win?
Aloma has been fantastic in the second half of stints, and he is showing just that at the moment. Little wiggle, though, coming out of 4. And all of a sudden, Aloma's momentum stalls as he tries to get to Cornish. Does he think about the inside? No. One more lap. 6 at the stripe left to go, as now Ian Cornish decides that he needs to stem the tide, stop the bleeding here, which is putting Finland back into play when it comes into this one. I put Finland very marginally ahead here in race number 1, but it's so close to call. Another thought from Aloma, still not finding it.
Still not finding any way past on your race leader, Ian Cornish, right now, but he'll get a slight momentum advantage off the corner. Maybe able to challenge down into 1. He's going to sit in the slipstream instead and then maybe think about this move, but he's not going to go for it just yet. Aloma buying time right now, and he has not a lot of pressure from behind. Jake Forster's a good couple of 10ths of a second behind, and has his own issue of Evening to deal with as Evening finds the wall and takes out Challoner as well.
Bang! Just like that, it all changes. Evening tries to get back up to speed. Challoner gets to try and go back up to speed. Both of them drop to pretty much the back of the field. And as things stand, it will be a certain Challoner who will be the pole sitter for heat number 2. Heikkinen struggles as well. Heikkinen had his own issues too. He got himself into the wall with Walsh, and he was trying to take that high side. Walsh in the end just got a big wiggle up into the wall. They both went, and it's all starting to come unglued with 5 to go.
This is the feisty nature that we expected between the two teams, and the stewards will be very, very busy indeed as Dave Walsh loses yet more time as a result of damage. Gets Sapala and Linkfist by on that outside. 4 laps to go here in this first race of the grand final. Cornish, hold it there. Oh my God.
Wow, he almost lost it, and Aloma takes the lead. Finland take control, and look at Jamie Fluke now trying to get past a driver there. That will be Sebastian Linkvist. You will finally make a way through on. So now it's a case of pick up what you can. This has got scrappy here in the final 10 laps, and I think Finland are in a better position as things stand. Fluke again looking to try and make something happen. Now trying to take the finish train, because Finland all of a sudden have 4th, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, he made his way past Linkvist though, so that's points recovered a little bit for the UK and Ireland club, but his trucks are getting so loose off the corners now in these late stages thanks to the hotter weather and thanks to the just absolute tooth and nail nature of this race so far. These tyres are just not surviving the distance. Fluke going to get threatened on the inside by Sebastian Linkvist, but Linkvist is not able to hold it as Fluke gets the momentum off the corner to challenge Sepala down in towards turn number 3. This could be crucial depending on how the points turn out, but we're yet to hear an update from the admins.
And Williamson now dives down to the inside as well, so this could be some very big point swings. As up on high, starting to migrate up there is Williamson, and he holds on to things for the moment. They remain Noah's Ark. Protests in from both sides. Lindeloto and Thurston, the two club captains. Now this has got personal between everybody involved, with now 2 laps to go in this one. As things stand, it's Finland 108.85, but for the moment at least, Fluke can't make the move, nor could Williamson.
No, he can't. Not just yet. There's still a chance for UK&I in this race 1. If they can get those 2 passes, maybe they'll make it close by the time that this race is done. We're going to have white flag in the air for Alexi Aloma as he charges out of 4. That's a lot of speed lost by Cornish, though. The positions will be swapped between him and Jake Forster. But the other battle to look at is for P number 6, Sepala versus Fluke. And we've also got Williamson versus Linkfist in the back of the shot. White flag in the air. Last lap. Here we go for race 1.
Here we go indeed. Williamson looking low, hoping there's something there that just isn't. It will have to be 3 and 4, which Jamie Fluke will do, as Sapala now will have to go defensive. Aloma streaking away then in the second half of this one has proven that Cornish and Forster have not had anything in the late stages. Fluke looking high side to make it happen. Aloma will take the checker in a very crucial work, but there's a mistake for Forster, who just about holds on to it and will stay ahead of Joni Hagner. It's a drag race between Fluke and also Sapala, and it goes to Jamie Fluke marginally on the line. That could be very telling. I still think, though, this is Finland's all the way through, as Jonathan Rex will get the lap as Heikkinen struggles his way over to the line as well. That is what's called action pack. That is what is called the clubs having a fantastic battle for what is that one. This is results of what happened in that opening race. Hopefully we will get in just a moment things just trying to sort itself out, but it was a great result for Alexi Aloma, who takes the victory ahead of Ian Cornish. Jake Forster finishes 3rd with Joni Hagner 4th, Jukka Savalainen 5th, Jamie Fluke stealing 6th away from Jere Sepala, Sebastian Linkvist in 8th, Fraser Williamson 9th, and Una Karama rounding out the top 10. Dave Walsh in 11th, Stuart Pomfrey 12th, Joni Heikkinen 13th, Timu Evenen gets pole in 14th with Christian Challoner 15th and Jonathan Rex 16th. I put this as very, very good here for Finland, having 1 and 2 as things stand at the moment. So this here, Connery, becomes very, very interesting.
Oh, it does. The cars will roll off the pit lane for the second time in the grand final. Finland with that front row lockout in the reverse grid. Iivonen and Häkkinen as well. What can Pomfrey, Walsh and others do in this situation? Williamson's at the front of the field as well. And Challoner missing out on that reverse grid. He was P number 14 for the longest time, drops to P15. Means he misses out on the reverse grid and has to start second to last. How far he gets up the field could be telling in terms of whether we go to a third race.
We still haven't received official confirmation of race number 1, but I put it as Finland's just as things stand. And Finland have said there is no bronze and there is no silver for them. They only want victory. Iivonen and Häkkinen at the front. Pomfrey and Walsh will try and make some challenges. There will be pushes through the field. It is a tough overtaking circuit, but we have seen it happen before. And suddenly Team Iivonen is going to be really, really important in terms of this race. He was the star of the semi-finals. He didn't really shine brightly here in this opening heat. Maybe the pressure getting to him. But the pace car should dive onto the lane. This should be coordinated as well from Finland too, because they do have the lock at the front. Pace car dives in, pace on Iivonen, and he goes early. Here we go, heat number 2 here in the World Cup of iRacing finals here for Oval, and it's a great jump there by Iivonen. Häkkinen will play rear gunner, and all of a sudden it's nice 2 wide lines through 1 and 2.
Yeah, Pomfrey got a very good start, starting behind your race leader. He might be looking for P number 2 is Pomfrey now. We're challenging Joni Häkkinen all the way, coming off of turn number 2. Häkkinen will have the advantage coming down the back straight as they're still 2 by 2 further back, but battle for P number 2 is on. Pomfrey, very wide line taken in there, almost running into the side of Häkkinen as Häkkinen has to fight back on that outside, and he's scared up the racetrack by Pommers.
And he's still going to fight as now the Finns decide to dive onto the lane, joined with Fluke, joined with Challoner, all pitting early, joined with Cornish, Aloma, Rex, all in there. Häkkinen still having to fight Pomfrey, who maybe some consider isn't the quickest in the group, but certainly is punching above his weight. Walsh goes high side. Lindqvist now going to make it 3 wide here in his second pack. Williamson waiting. Then you've got Savalainen, Forster and Hagner all there. Those are those who have not yet come down in and made that all-important stop. Finland 104, UK&I 89 as things stand. As now high side, they're all going to go start thinking about the lane. 2 stay out, the rest come in. And look at this, scrapping for everything that they can get. And I think Hagner was in the rear of Forster.
Forster got himself slowed down for the lane. Oh, he might have been pushed onto the lane there by the car behind. Might have even caused him to get a penalty here. We'll have to see for Forster, see how long he stays in that pit box, get himself stopped. Forster has a penalty down on towards the lane. That could be crucial.
And Thurston will definitely protest this, because that will come straight back at it, because that is not, arguably you could say, the fault of Forster in that situation. Look at Challoner though, trying to battle it on the outside of Jere Seppälä. They've let the drivers of Karimaa and Iivonen get away, and crucially, look at Walsh in his stop. He's got fantastic work, and I think he's going to put himself net race lead after all of that. But look at the Finnish contingency just behind. They are 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and now fighting for 8th. They're 3 wide with Challoner, Savalainen in their mix as well, and now it's a mountain for UK and Ireland, no matter how much is going to be done.
Yeah, exactly. Challoner still in the middle of the 3 wide between 2 Finnish trucks. That's going to be Seppälä pushing him down, and he spins him into the wall. That's Walsh going to be taken out. Excuse me, Ian Cornish taken out. Challoner spins as well. Jamie Fluke has to slow down for the wreck. Pommers has gone as well. Disaster for the UK.
A big, big wreck, and this is going to be the telling point, because there are a lot of Finnish cars involved, and there is a big amount of displeasure and distaste on Challoner, because he let himself, his feelings be known to everybody in this race. Now, all of a sudden, this changes pretty much everything in terms of this one. Rex forcing also another driver down very, very low. That was Hagner, and looking high is Linkvist here. It will be 3 wide almost through turn number 1, and this race just turned on a paradigm into finish hands.
It was an aggressive move by Challenger, but you have to make those aggressive moves. Almost contact between Hagner and Rex just there coming off of turn number 2. So this is a huge, huge, huge job now for those race administrators, those race stewards, to find out who's at fault and to find out whether we'll get a race 3 even in this situation here. So still a lot of things undecided right now. Hagner trying to get aggressive with Jonathan Rex here, trying to gain those positions, but looking at the retirements, Ian Cornish, Pomfrey, we've got Fluke, we've got Challenger, so 4 UK and Ireland drivers versus 4 Finnish drivers retired.
Well, that tells you
2 even, excuse me.
Well, 2 only retired, so Finland are perfectly placed with more drivers to work with. Rex under pressure, though. Hagner goes low side, trying to make it work. And Joni Hagner, oh, you have a feeling he wants to make it happen. Goes high, almost contact, but they hold it together. Rex proving that his worth is there as he holds on to things just for the time being, and that there tells you all you need to know. Even though they are 6-4 in advantage right now, Hagner's still pushing for everything he can get. Linkvist battling it out with Williamson as Williamson runs up the track a little bit as Linkvist loses out.
Yep, he will lose out. Linkvist looking for the position back then over the young Scottish driver. Inside line taken for turn 3, but as we've seen later on in this race, that the low line doesn't really work out, but it's starting to do so, though, for Sebastian Linkvist. Then down the front straight they will go. Slight advantage to Linkvist, but Fraser Williamson will fight him, will squeeze him towards the low line for turn number 1. Williamson not wanting to give this position easily. They'll still be side by side through 1 and 2.
And there was a mistake for Walsh as well. He clipped the wall out of 2. That gave Teemu Evening the chance to take the lead and has done. Battle for second now. Walsh trying to hold off Joni Heikkinen as the pair of them who started 1 and 2 continue to go at it here. High side for Heikkinen, low side for Walsh, who was involved in an incident where he washed up through 3 and 4, and he'll be careful about that, leaving a little bit more space to the 101 of Heikkinen, and now no space here through the tri-oval, you can arguably say, as he now tries to get through a little bit of contact, and then all of a sudden Walsh back from 1st to 3rd in the space of 2 laps, still fighting. Rex still actually making positions here. He gets past Una Karama and moves himself up. Not for position, I don't think he is a lap down, remember.
Yeah, he is a lap down, but can still cause a bit of an issue for the Finnish drivers if he decides to get up there. This could be an interesting one, especially if he just decided to take fresher tyres, even though like realizing he's 1 lap down, coming down in and just getting the fresher tyres just to be a nuisance to some of these Finnish teams. That could be the Hail Mary that the UK and Ireland club are going for right now. They need something. Forster managing to get past Sapala here, so that is more points gained by the UK. They're starting to edge their way back in, but is it going to be enough with 11 laps to go?
Well, it's a little bit of a march, but it's a little bit of something, but right now you have to feel there's not much that they can do in this situation. Williamson defending now from Linkvist, who starts thinking about going low side, thought high side, thought better of it, decides low side it is, as now it's going to be Linkvist trying to make something happen as he goes low. Wash out there from Williamson, and the Scotsman is not quite flying but faltering as he falls behind. Look further in front right now. Walsh under pressure. There's Una Karama trying to go through, and let's go 3 wide into 1 and 2 because Hagner decides it's time to go banzai, and look at that. Walsh in the middle, the rubbered in middle, by the way, is going to try and make it happen. But look at the exit. Oh, hello, and they hold it together, and Finland swarms again.
Karima through, Hagner still trying to do the same, but on the inside line into 3, and his defense for his life right now for Dave Walsh. He's brought back into P number 5 as Hagner slips his way ahead, tries to fight back on the low line off the corner as well, though, but the thing is, things keep going from bad to worse for the UK and Ireland team.
Finland 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that tells you all you need to know. Paul Thurston really shocked with the 1, 2, 3, being given no further action. But right now you have to feel that Finland have made the best out of a bad situation, and that UK&I have got desperately unlucky in heat number 2. But that is the nature of this oval racing, especially with no cautions, Connery. One incident and bang, a race can turn just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Finland, though, take no credit away from them at all. They've been absolutely fantastic throughout this playoff stage, and they've just done what they have needed to do. Front of the field, P1 through 4, and that will be enough to secure this oval World Cup right now. Whether the road one will go the same way, well, that is a bigger question, and that will also decide the overall championship as well. But the thing is, we've got what looks to be 7 laps to go the next time Evenen hits the line, and it's just a case of getting safely to the end for Finland now. They can't afford multiple cars to go off.
They certainly can't, but Jonathan Rex is being a nuisance for Heikkinen and also a nuisance for Evenen as well. And if they get involved with Jonathan Rex, that's not going to be helpful at all in the slightest. Rex looking low side, but nothing forthcoming at the moment. It's not a case of hits will make your way past. It's a case of the least amount of mistakes moving forward from this point. It's 6 at the line here. You got also the likes of Lindqvist still fighting it out with Williamson. Williamson, probably the last line of defense here, trying to be an offense, trying to go low, and there's contact, unsettles the rear, and that you call is the chrome horn pass.
This is the frustration coming out now from the UK. Fraser Williamson showing the bumper to Lindqvist. Short track action at one of the longest tracks that we have here in NASCAR. Shoves Lindqvist up the track. Williamson through. No problems with that, I feel. But right now, the UK need just a miracle.
A miracle is needed. There is a 30-second stop and hold for Jukka Savalainen, but that will make no difference at all because he is 9 laps down at this stage in the event and not circulating out on track. So that means absolutely nothing at all in terms of the long and short when it comes to this race. But as things look, it seems so basic at the moment. When you've got the top 4 on lock, there's not much you can do. It's 5 and 6, Walsh and Williamson, but right now you have to feel that it could have been so different here in race number 2. There was some great scrapping that was going to be done. It's 124 to 69 as things stand, and that is pretty much as decisive as it gets. Jonathan Rex still all over the back of Heikkinen.
Yeah, he very much is, but it's too little, too late for the UK&I as Rex pretty much sums up the UK's race here in heat number 2. Finds the grass on the inside, yet more points to solidify Finland's position, as I'm very interested in that spectator chat right now because people are not happy with how this race has gone.
No, people aren't happy, but when you've got yourself these sorts of stakes in the finals, people will see tempers getting flared. Rex was not Rex by nature because he did hold on to it. He's now behind Lindqvist, Walsh and Williamson, so he will play no further part in terms of influencing the front of the field, but it is just so dominant at this stage of this one. Hagner and Karama are nose to tail for third. We don't expect much battling. Heikkinen just a good 4/2 a second now behind Teemu Evenen, as Evenen has done a fantastic job of just running his own race. As things stand, Connery, it seems pretty simple, but Fraser Williamson right now just hoping out of hope, UK&I hoping out of hope, something does happen, a big lapse of judgment.
It just has to be the only thread of hope that they have right now is they know those finished trucks get super sketchy in the final 3 or so laps, but I don't think anything catastrophic is going to happen. So this means likely, provisionally, that Finland will be the Oval World Cup champions. But with how busy the steward's office is, with how busy the captains have been in chat, and with how the tempers have been flaring, I don't think this one's going to be sorted even after we get a couple of road semi-finals done.
I do not envy the job of Mike Juliet and what he will have to do to defuse the situation, and this will carry on into the semi-finals. And if these two meet again in road, oh my goodness, we could be in for something special. Unikarma has lost the position to Joni Hagner. Hagner has made his way through. The white flag, though, for the final time, you'd feel, comes out at Michigan for Teemu Ivonen.
Oh, no.
Joni Heikkinen, and uh-oh, indeed. There's a moment, and that's Jonathan Rex and Dave Walsh, and it's capitulation for Club UK and Ireland here in heat number 2. It has gone all shades of wrong. It has gone belly up and over, and they have been absolutely decimated. You can have your bronze, you can have your silver, but if you are from Suomi, it is only Winland. Teemu Ivonen will cross the line and give Finland a 6th Oval Cup, and just like that, it has become plain sailing here, although not without its own controversies. It is Finland once again.
It very much is, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The reason why the other teams have been so active on the protests and looking to get penalties, even if it doesn't affect this race, it'll affect the overall championship as well once we get that road segment done, as Finland, they'll line themselves up on the back straight. Joni Hagner in the middle, UK&I trying to spoil the photo, and I guess they might be frustrated, which is why they're doing this. Fraser Williamson parked behind them, but oh my word, what a race, what a messy race, a scrappy race. But I think with the history between these two teams, that was always going to happen.
It always was. Results then up on screen. Teemu Ivonen will take it by 0.8 of a second over Joni Heikkinen, with Joni Hagner finishing it off in 3rd. Unikarma makes it 1, 2, 3, 4 for Finland here in race 2, with Fraser Williamson 5th and Sebastian Lindqvist in 6th. Dave Walsh runs into issues, finishes only 7th, with Jake Forster in 8th. Jere Seppälä will finish 9th, and Jonathan Rex 1 lap down, causing a wreck, finishing it off in 10th. And the big damage comes along from here. Christian Schallner, Ian Cornish, Stuart Pomfrey, Jamie Fluke, UK&I, a big contingency at the bottom, with Alexia Loma and Jukka Savalainen finishing 15 and 16 for that one. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we will be concluding action here on this part of our YouTube coverage, because on the iRacing Esports Network, we have another stream dedicated just for the road. 2 more semi-finals, and a final will be coming into play. But to those who get it done in terms of our oval coverage here, to Andwern Designs, the official graphics partners here at RaceSpot TV, with, of course, ATVO and Apgineer, the official graphics engine. Our live timing and scoring was brought to you by Nick Disson, and so much more has happened in this stage. The likes of our animations by Simon Grossman, and so much has happened. Istvan Ballos, Trackcams 22, Connery Maddock, Jake Sperry, that's Hugo Louise. Join us very, very shortly. We will get interviews coming up, but for the time being at least, that is Finland taking an Oval Cup. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Fallout here from the circuit of Michigan.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
He's going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing.
Lee to the inside goes Logan Clapman is going to touch in. Pit press. What a save.
Looks to the outside as Cronkite goes off. De Jong into 2nd place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
I'm trying, there's contact though.
Slide left of the racetrack. Chris Venner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that 2nd spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact. He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
A wacky roller coaster ride which comes to an end in an acrimonious 2-0. It gets controversial, but that is just the shorthand of all that has been happening here. It's the post-race here on Racing.tv and the iRacing eSports Network. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are that close to 10k subscribers. Jake Sperry, Connery Maddox, but Connery, you're standing by with an unfortunate loser in all of this, and that is Dave Walsh.
Yeah, we will get Mr. Dave Walsh up into the commentary booth right now, one of the fastest drivers on that UK and Ireland squad, but unfortunately it looks like right now we still got to get confirmation from the stewards about every single one of the protests that have been filed, and trust me, there are many. But Dave, that race, I think in one word it can be described as scrappy.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was quite controversial too. I mean, to be honest, there was just a lot of dirty driving from the Finns. We did, unfortunately, I saw it in the qualifying races too. In, I think it was the first race there in the final, the one of the Finns got into the wall, the exit of turn 2, and he just turned left into Christian. And I wouldn't mind that. I'd see that as an honest mistake, but that's the second time that's happened. That happened in the qualifying races too. And it just, I didn't see any other crashes, but we definitely think that there was a lot of dirty driving from them. So yeah, we put in a good few protests, and I don't think they're hardly gonna like rerun the race or anything like that. But yeah, we're not happy.
Yeah, we just had the points come through. Finland 123, UK and Ireland 70. So I think that one is pretty convincing. But right now in this one, you know, with how this race was starting to play out, you know, coming into this, you probably knew already that it was going to be fought tooth and nail because of the history and World Cups between these two sides. I was part of the Oval team for the 3 years previous to this one, so I know how the racing is out there on circuit, and it's always been so aggressive. Did you have that in mind coming in?
Yeah, this is the first time I've done one of these, but I've been told mostly by Christian about, well, the Finns. Probably only the Finns, but because that's the only ones that we were worried about. I'm sure it's happened in other teams too, but I was told about them doing the same kind of dirty driving before. It's not. Apparently, it was something that you could expect, so we did expect it, but we just didn't want to do it back. I didn't want to just wreck someone just because they wrecked me or nothing like that. I do want to have some level of respect, but apparently not everyone feels the same way.
The overall championship is not over just yet. The Road Boys have still yet to show what they can do for both of these teams, UK&I and Finland as well. So coming into this first semi-final of the road side, it's going to be UK and Ireland versus DEATCH. And Dave, before we let you go, any words of support for the Road Boys?
Yeah, I mean, good luck to them, I'd say. They put up a very good fight. Hopefully they can get the win, and maybe we can still come away with the overall championship. So yeah, good luck to them.
Very best of luck to them. And well, we've got someone waiting for interview that would love to have a chat. Jake, it's going to be your race winner for Finland in this second heat that ended up winning them the entire Oval Championship. It's Alexi Aloma.
It certainly is. Alexi, it's the Oval Championship. It's one of two that you're looking at. You've got a semi-final and a final yet to go in the Lotus 79s. But for you in that second heat, a big incident involving Challoner. Just what happened in terms of that massive fracas?
Well, I think Jere tried to pinch Challoner a bit, but he went way too far and caused a big wreck. And yeah, personally, there was nothing I could do. Just couldn't keep it on the track after getting a hit.
Nothing that you could do personally, but the team really did take advantage. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that second heat. You take the Oval crown. Just how important is it for Finland to assert that dominance, especially with that long and bitter rivalry with Club UK and Ireland, and how the accusations of dirty driving are getting flung around left and right?
I don't think there is a rivalry, at least from Finland to UK&I, because they have never beaten us, so I don't have to care until they actually can win.
Where you've managed to get yourself a victory. You don't believe there's any rivalry personally, but of course you've got the roadside coming up. How important is it to just get a clean semi-final under your belt before a big final coming up. That's, of course, if you get through that semi-final. But how important is it to make sure that everything just gets itself calmly sorted?
Yeah, I think the most, at least for Oval, it was the most important. We were so close on pace, so you need to keep it like no mistakes at all. Mistakes are everything that will determine who wins, and yeah, the Canada should be really easy. But yeah, against UK&I, I don't know how fast they are on the roadside, but it be quite easily for the finals at least.
Fighting talk then from the Finns. Alexi, before we let you go, any words of encouragement for the road guys? And of course, shout outs and sponsors or anything of that sort. Congratulations for your victory in the road side of the World Cup of iRacing.
Antakaa niille pataan, and thanks to sponsor Suomi ABOY.
No worries at all. Alexia Loma, jubilant in victory then after this one. But we're going to end things here in terms of race numbers 1, 2, and 3, because we're going to head over to another stream for this one on the iRacing eSports Network in just a couple of minutes' time. We're going road-bound. Brands Hatch is the place of action as the Lotus 79s. We go old school, trying to make these battles happen. Make sure you keep an eye out on everything that's going on. And if things end up very, very similarly, then my goodness, are we seeing fireworks here in Forkham, Kent. But from here in Michigan, we say goodbye, because now it's time for Brands Hatch. See you in a few.